500 horsepower pushing me into my seat, reaching 250 kilometers an hour in a few seconds, while braking just as quick. Driving on some of the most famous tracks in the world. Driving bumper to bumper against great players from all around the world. Fighting for the ultimate prize. Being the real racer. The Real Race 2021. Sign up now.
Lamborghini The Real Race is back with race number 4 as we're heading over to Kyalami. My name is Randy Butler, and alongside I got Lee Demon Smith once again, bringing you all the action right from the racetrack with the best drivers trying to qualify for one of the biggest prizes out there in sim racing as they get the real life experience with Lamborghini on a real life track. I said it already, you're back for round 4, which means we already had 3, and the previous one, that was Laguna Seca, but I think before we actually look into Laguna Seca, we might want to talk to Lee. But first, Lee, are you excited for a new race?
Just been attacked by my cat that decided to jump across my chest the second I started. No clue why he decided my shirt was where he wanted to land, but that was very nice of him. So yeah, an interesting start to Kyalami. Lami. I'm back to the llama again, aren't I? The drama llama. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I had a good old go on this track throughout the week. It's going to be a very interesting race, I feel. Some tough overtaking spots is almost certainly going to be the problem, and it's a very technical one.
Is it? I mean, we had Laguna Seca previously, which was already hard, but Kyalami, long flowing corners, tight sections as well, and this time we're also heading into a new region.
Yeah, absolutely. We finally get to cover the Europe, Middle East and North Africa sort of region. So we finally get to see what all the drama's about. Obviously, we covered them when we were in the studio in Berlin a month ago. So it was fantastic to see that. But yeah, Laguna Seca, Suzuka, we've had some fantastic races so far.
We definitely did. And maybe we should have a look at what happened in Laguna Seca. That was really an exciting cracker.
As they get ready to go over the line, green light drops and away they go. The orange cars all leading the start at the moment. O'Hara's going to be the first man. Ogorodnikov into second place. He's going to just nicely funnel in behind them. There was one going wide back there. I didn't quite catch who it was. I'll keep my eye to see who it is. It's Gavlis Singh that's out wide in the green Lamborghini further back there, but it's O'Hara that starts things off as they start to sweep through the S's. Oh, they're all getting hot in it. Lawrenson was a little on the brakes there, and Shimatensky looked to have a little move, try and get past Gary Huang. He's left himself open to Andika Ramamalana.
Oh, Molana got spun by Shematinsky. That was the moment between Shematinsky and Wang, and it seems like Wang kind of pressured him off the track and closed the outside there, with Shematinsky losing a lot of time going up the curb, slightly on the grass. If you're familiar with racing, then you realize that was actually Suzuka, not Laguna Seca. So that was on the completely wrong track because there was so much action in the Lamborghini The Real Race so far, and you should not miss any of those races. So after you watch this one, you think like, hey, I forgot something from the previous one. Just hop onto the VODs, make sure that you watched all of them, as it's a big championship, a big prize, and big partners to actually make this happen. So we obviously want to say thanks to the guys from Kuna Simulazione and ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione. That's the simulator we use for our program here, to Intel, to Kaspersky, and obviously to the guys that let us sit comfortably while actually doing the show, Secret Labs, to thanks to them as well. Which brings us now to finally something not for us and to sit on, but for something to give away to the winner, Lee, and that's a format and obviously the big prize.
Yeah, I mean, the big part is obviously that everybody takes part. has a chance at winning one of those headsets to start with. So that's like the main part straight away. So even if you don't win the overall competition, and there is only going to be 3 winners, 1 from each region, it's going to be very hard to get there. So if you guys are unaware of the format, obviously coming into Kyalami, gee, why do I struggle over that? I don't know. Coming into this, we had open qualifiers, which ran from the 2nd to the 6th of August. Anyone could take part. If you're in one of those regions, one of those specific regions, and you're over the ages of 16, yes, I'm sorry, but you do need to drive because the prize kind of relies on that. Then you have a chance of being here. You've got to be quick, and I mean quick. For this track, you need to be doing post sort of just under 140s per lap for 6 laps. If you're Jordan Sherratt that we've got today, he managed to get 7. The only person in the world that managed to squeeze in 7 laps in the fuel that he had. Pretty incredible in the time that you have. So you've got to be quick to start with to get in there. But if you do happen to be in that top 40 drivers when the qualification comes down on the Saturday, you're going to be going into the closed qualifiers, and then you'll be racing out. Well, not racing. It'll be single player solo once again, and again trying to do your fastest time overall. If you're in the top 20, then you're going to be here on the race day, and that's when all the action will be happening.
Yeah, and if you wonder what do I get when I actually make it to the end, not just this race today, but accumulate so much points that you might be a champion in your region, then you actually get to drive in a brand new Lamborghini Huracán GT EVO. That's a GT3 car in the EVO version. Got a video for you to let you really know what it would like to be.
Engine good, positive lap for driver change. Copy, copy, copy up.
The Super Trofeo Evo 2, what a car it is. I mean, it sounds amazing, it looks amazing, I'm absolutely sure it will be amazing to drive. So, yeah, we'll be quite happy winning that one. I would love to be in the races, but we're not. We're here to actually lead you through these races and make sure that they're the most entertaining they can be, and that should be simple, because last grid really showed us on the last race in Suzuka that they can put on some very entertaining racing. Talking about entertaining racing, what's up on the schedule for the drivers that are still with us in the championship? As we obviously already had a few races. We started at Monza, we went to Laguna Seca, that's the one I can't forget about, and then we also had the first endurance race at Suzuka, Lee, which had an absolutely exciting last lap.
Yeah, that was an exciting last lap, but unfortunately, it did mean it kind of knocked Ando O'Hara out, but obviously managed to regain his composure. Ogrodnikov had a penalty given to him, and it ended up O'Hara won that race. So congratulations to him. And Rene, spoiler alert, he just won and won again.
You with your spoilers, man. Maybe we got replays of that, who knows, right? But we're obviously at Kyalami today. That's what you see for round 4, but there are more than 4 rounds. It's not the last race of the championship. There are more. There's Sandford coming up, then another endurance race at the legendary Nürburgring. Obviously not the Nordschleife, but the Nürburgring itself. The GP course, Catalonia, when we head over to Spain, and then back to the UK, maybe the rainy UK, who knows, when we hit Silverstone. And yeah, the next up for the endurance racing, that is one of the big names in the endurance racing calendar anyway, right, Lee?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. There's so many great races we're going to be going through. I mean, like you say, the Nürburgring as an endurance. We actually had really entertaining endurance. Like, well, I don't think we could have wished for better at Suzuka with the way it ended. You know, the fact that we had completely different strategies from the 2 drivers, and they ended up basically fighting tooth and nail for the last sort of 5 or 6 laps. It was absolutely entertaining. So looking forward to that once again.
Yeah, Spa for sure. That's the last endurance race that we will have. And then we head over to Misano Adriatico for our very last race, which means that at that point, we should know the winners of our different regions. 3 in totals. We do EMEA today. So European, mostly European drivers this time, actually, in the region. And we already had one of the favorites from our first Monza race, where we saw all 3 regions on one day. So we kind of return now to a grid that we already know, which is cool because I want to see how the drivers evolved over time. But before we head to our first race, let's have a quick shout out from the CEO of Lamborghini, Stefan Winkelmann.
Pushing the boundaries has been within the DNA of Lamborghini from the very first day. And we all agree that competition helps every company and every individual to never rest and always keep pushing. Of course, this is also true for racing competitions, be it out on the track or in a simulator. In fact, sim racing has experienced a huge growth over the last years, even accelerated during this last year of travel restrictions and other limitations due to COVID. Lamborghini is happy to be a supporter and an important driver of this trend. We share the passion of the sim racing community. With the real race, we are now increasing the competition to 3 regions. This is a great development, underlining Lamborghini's commitment and providing even more racers a chance to engage with our brand. On the company's journey, the development of digital solutions is crucial. Making racing accessible for everyone is close to our heart. In the end, we all in this incredible car universe are in it for the love of cars and the passion for performance. We'd like to wish the best luck to the drivers. We are all looking forward to seeing who will win the championship and become Lamborghini official sim driver in 2022. And now, I invite you to play, to compete, to be entertained by Lamborghini.
There we go again, which means, as you probably know from the previous races, we're now getting closer. All the drivers hopefully are on the server already and ready on the grid very, very soon when those lights go green, Lee. And this time they go green in Kyalami. I know, hard name as we realized already in terms of pronunciation, but it's also a track that, at least from my experience, I think all my races there so far in ACC have been in the rain.
Yeah, it won't be in the rain today, but it is cloudy. I can tell you it is cloudy. It's one of the heaviest cloud settings out there, so it's going to be a pretty dull, dark day overall. But it is a fantastic track. I was looking at it like it's quite similar in layout to Nürburgring. Quite. Trust me, if you turn it like 90 degrees, you look at it and you're like, it could kind of semi-overlay them with one another, ish. But there's a lot of elevation going on in this. There's a lot of ups and downs. You go through the S's. It sort of deceivingly sort of drops down. Then it goes up a little hill, then drops down into that big hairpin. Yeah, there's some really big, interesting corners on it where we could see people losing back ends. I think is if they're a little too heavy on the pedal coming out of the corners, it could get very interesting. There's also a massive curb they have to be careful on towards the end of the lap.
And so many corners that lean in different directions. Sometimes you get a bit of banking, sometimes they hang to the outside. As you said, that might be a problem with the rear end, right? You don't want to lose that on your Lamborghini Huracán GT3. And I was just trying to imagine how you try to turn that around the track and then maybe change some corners so it actually overlays Nürburgring. But it is Kyalami. It is in South Africa. That's where we're going to. And we obviously have the grid for you guys who will be in for today's race, as they obviously all qualify new. And at the top of it, not really surprising, the driver that already dominated the very first race at Monza that we saw, John Sheriff.
Yeah, he has been so strong, and you know, it's his home race. It's his home race really here. Overall, just dominant. You know, like I say, he's the only driver in the world that managed to squeeze out a 7th lap in the qualifying. Everybody else, you know, Tinko and that lot were asking, it's like, how did you manage to get the fuel for that? And basically what he said was he kind of got over the line, realized he had like 0.9 liters left, and just had to coast it around the final sort of lap, just basically lifting the whole way, I think, and just crawled over the line without any fuel left. But thankfully, they don't need a litre of fuel in their car, like a certain German driver required the other day in the Formula 1. But yeah, some very quick lap times. Everybody looking at like 1:39s when they're in the qualifying pace. Obviously, we're going to be coming into this with a fully fueled up hour-long race and the 45-minute sprint races. So definitely going to be slightly slower in terms of times, but these guys are quick.
Yeah, the Italian hunting group, basically, led by Kevin Seclari, also a name that most of us are familiar with. Only one German driver managed, that's Christian, Demesco Christian on the back, and two Belgian drivers, actually. I really like that because Belgium is one of those smaller countries, and I always love when they make it into big events in sim racing, because I think there are a lot of passionate drivers over there, and great to have two of them with us. We obviously got South Africa, quite good represented. Obviously, one of them is also our leading man currently in the championship as well, if I'm not mistaken. Jordan Scherer should be the one on top of all the standings after the race he had. And on screen now we've got Luca Tavernari, the 27-year-old Italian. He's in good a good team there around with a lot of Italian supporters, not just mostly in the chat, but also on the grid today.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys, work cut out. Obviously, some fantastic driving going to be required from these guys. As I say, it's a pretty tight, twisty circuit. There's not going to be too many overtaking opportunities. Charlie Crossland, I think he finished about 10th, didn't he? 8th or 10th in the Suzuka race. I definitely remember his name being up there. Great to see British representatives. The only one, unfortunately, in the 20 today.
That is true, not that many. And then we've got Tommy Roseri, 20 years young, nationality French, so from the beautiful country of France. Another country I would say that's really, really strong when it comes to racing, real-life motorsports, sim racing, it doesn't really matter. So definitely one to look for. And Tinko van der Velde, we had him in the Monza event as well, currently in position 4, 17 years young, so even younger than the Frenchman we had previously, but certainly someone that brings some experience already onto the track and a really interesting driving style. Love to watch him last time that we saw him.
Yeah, he really put on a show last time around, and this man also was up there challenging with him, Kevin Seclara, really putting in some fantastic laps. That obviously we saw them. It was a few races ago, back at Monza, so the first race of the season. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to work out. We are covering the EMEA. It's got so many names. I normally just want to say Europe, but it's not, because it's Europe, Middle East, and North Africa. Everybody involved in there. But I'm very interested to see how this is going to go, because obviously we've kind of left it. We've been over covering the North America and Latin America. We've been covering Asia and Pacific. So it's great to finally be covering these guys again that we haven't really touched on for 2 months now.
Yeah, 2 races had been between Monza and where we are now. And Jordan Sheriff, he was the dominating factor back then in Monza. He was in the race in the background, as obviously these guys were also racing. We just didn't have them on stream, so it's not like they could skip the races in between. They obviously did them. They did Laguna Seca and Suzuka just like all the other regions. And Jordan Sheriff so far really the absolute favorite for the title in the region. But it's still a long championship. Not done yet, so still anyone's game, but looking at the championship points, we see that's nearly a 50-point gap between Jordan Serra and Kevin Seclari already, so that's quite a comfortable lead starting here in Kyalami.
Kadlashik's surname once again confounding the scoreboard chart, but he is certainly doing very well, 77 points. And Tinko van der Velde, I'm going to be very interested. He was the second highest qualifier along with Jordan Sherritt, so definitely going to be putting in a challenge today. Was just keeping my eye on their warm-up times. He was certainly doing very well throughout that. It's going to be some very interesting sprint racing. This is not going to be an easy one for Jordan Sherritt to run away with.
Yeah, especially we're now going back to the 2-race format, right? Last time, when we had over to Suzuka, it was the endurance race, so that's a 2-hour race, and that's it. Nothing else to it. And this time we got the 4 to 5 minutes and the 1 hour race, which means if something goes wrong the first race, you still have a chance for a bit comeback kind of in the main race in the 1 hour long session, and kind of the first 45 minutes you can use to dial in, but you can't really relax, Lee, because you want those points.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, even if you're involved in a first corner incident, which is totally possible on here because we go down to a first gear corner, then you've got to make sure you recover and keep your position, because obviously that's going to carry through into the second 1 hour sprint race as well. And don't forget, they all have to take that pit stop.
Yeah, they have to, and we have to hop on a short break because we're getting all the drivers on Kyalami for round number 4. from our short break, and that means all of our drivers are finally on the server and getting ready hopefully they got their right setup loaded and their skill sets sorted for Kyalami. Won't be an easy race at all, but it will be an exciting one, or 2 exciting races even, because we're not an endurance race. We get double the amount of starts, which is probably what I really enjoy, because I love seeing them starting and all blasting down into turn 1, as we often see drivers really accelerating there and just having a blast, taking over people left and right.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, because you go through the kink and then you get basically hard on the brakes into a left-hander. Ordinarily we go right? This is a left-hander, so it's definitely going to be an interesting one into Growthorn, hard on the brakes, and then you're sort of sweeping through into Barbecue, where you've got to be down to that second gear, and then you're back on the accelerator, piling up towards Sunset, and then seeing as much as you dare. And that's I think where we may see some interesting action. We're probably going to see them 2x2 maybe through Sunset. We'll see whether they can handle that. And then into turn 7, which is the clubhouse, they're going to be sort of back on them brakes again, down into the S's, which is tighter than it looks. I think the S's, it's safe to say. You sort of think you can carry more speed than you can through it, and then you go sort of up this hill. It's very strange. Kind of like, it's very uphill, downhill sort of section into what is essentially a tight hairpin, and then you're flat on the accelerator again, down in mineshaft, hard on the brakes into the crocodiles, which is turn 13 and 14, and Cheetah's the one, which is turn 15. I feel that we're gonna see someone clip that. So what it is, it's a big sausage curb. There is a big, bright yellow sausage curb there, and if you cut it too much, that will launch you. And I'm a little worried that we're going to see someone hitting it in maybe a bit of a tight fight. But we'll see how it goes. You can see the session's ready to start.
Yeah, we got Sheriff leading in front of Saklari, then second row, that's Van der Velde, next to Rosari, and then Adam, Grobler, Tavernari, Copera. We got Lowe, Addison, Bryce, and then Crossland. Those fulfill the top 12. So you got your British driver up there in it. But obviously we've got way more than just 12 drivers, so don't worry about just that. Let's actually get us into the drive session. There we go. And Jordan Sheriff is obviously leading the pack once again. He should be kind of known to it by now. And I would say we jump on board with Tinko van der Velde, who has a great look at the first row right before the lights go green. We can see the lights in the background. They're still red, and Kyalami's not yet to go. And we're off. There is green, finally starting into round 4. Let's see if everyone gets away good. Jordan Sheriff still leading, but you got Saklari right next to him down into turn 1. Seems like Van der Velde and Rosera still side by side. There might be coming a car from the background there into turn 1. That gets really tight there. Someone gets a slight spin, but nothing too bad so far. And it seems like everyone made at least through the first 2 turns.
Yeah, but boy, it got tight there. We knew it would do, down into that tight corner. And then once again, they're coming into this 4th gear. There are a couple too wide further back there. I'm just having a look. I think it's Capera that it's got a Charlie Crusland as well, trying to look alongside him. So 3rd, 4th gear, how much you dare take through it. And then you're going to be hard on the brakes in just a moment into this 2nd gear, tight left-hander. And you see they're still side by side here. Capera being challenged throughout this one. And he is finally going to get ahead of himself in the S's.
Yeah, it's really tight also between Tinko van der Velde and Adam. If you're looking at the fighting group right here, I mean, everyone is going at Van der Velde. It seems like he's not up to the pace that Saklari and Sheriff can go right from the start, as there is a slight gap between those already. Although Jordan Sheriff, he will be quite happy, as besides being too wide at the start, it's quite calm around him for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Tinko's, as you say, was running strong, but hello, Adam's sort of sending it a little bit there, and oh no, he's connected with Tinko. He's sent Tinko off, and that was simple connection, just a torpedo up the inside. And what we were talking about is obviously, you know, your position will carry through. Absolutely a penalty, no doubt up in my mind for Adam there, but Tinko spearheaded down to the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, Tinko's still in Tinko obviously dropped Tariq Adams still in 3rd, but as you said, there might be a penalty from race control apply. Or we'll see in the background Grobler and Rosieri, and it seems like Grobler can actually keep his position for now. And then the slightly grey, bluish car in the background, that is Razzieri.
Let's have a look at the replay of that, and you're going to see he basically just I mean, I don't even think he had a nose it. I mean, he just basically launched it. It was an interesting position to go for an overtake as well. I was kind of surprised, Ben. I think Tinko was probably surprised. Just sort of in there, and you can see just clip the back end. And you know, once he's sent spinning, or honestly looking at Van der Velde didn't turn. You could see he was slowly turning in. I didn't see it was the green car. I think it's Grobler that he connected with as well. Could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, the green car was indeed Jean-Claude Grobler. That's currently in 4th position, and hopefully he didn't got a lot of damage of that, because it looked quite hefty, the impact. And I have to say, it kind of reminded me of a certain Silverstone incident as he catched the rear tire of the Lamborghini GT3 in front of him. So seems like that's kind of the topic, because that's, I think, the 3rd or 4th sim race that I see lately.
Yes,
exactly
I saw that
such a
on
maneuver.
I saw that on Friday. A very similar situation at Cops. But yeah, this obviously we're in South Africa now, so a very different track. But John Sherritt, the race leader, looking in great stead as he goes over the line to get another lap underway. Certainly a fantastic drive for him once again, and we expect him to continue that one. Kevin Seclari obviously has been the points contender throughout, so it's great to see him still there, keeping him in check in 2nd place. But further down the field, it's going to get very interesting. In terms of position gains, Charlie Crossland, what a great start from him so far, starting out gaining 6 places already. So he has had a cracking start as he tries to put the pressure onto Razzieri.
Yeah, cross landing currently in 6th, and seems like Capera in the background, that's a 27 car, might launch an attack on the inside now. No, he was just showing himself real quick in the rear view mirror, but wasn't quick enough to get alongside. And I think around Tavanari, that's another fighting group. Yeah, Luca Tavanari, number 63 car here in grey, and another slightly bigger fighting group. As we see cars going side by side, that should be Baumann if I'm not mistaken. Benjamin Baumann in the background. Did we catch him on camera here? Yes, we did. There we go. It seems like he won 2 positions there as Contreras dropped down. We might want to have to wait until the next sector to know exactly who lost the position there, but the 29, Benjamin Baumann, he at least got up to 12 now. Up to 11th, there we go.
Yeah, and a 5-second penalty given out there to Tariq Adams, so obviously that will slow him down. He's going to have to go in towards the pits and serve. Was it a stop-go? I didn't see whether it was a stop-go. No, it's just a 5-second penalty. That's pretty lenient considering he sent Tinko to the back of the field, I think. So obviously they're feeling a little lenient. Yes, I mean, it was only a tap up the inside, so it wasn't like he's went charging in there. He definitely had half a car in, but at the moment it does mean that Tarek will obviously drop down the field, but plenty of time to go in this one still.
Yeah, I think he can be happy with only 5 seconds. Could have been way worse for him. So wouldn't be surprised. But we get the replay of the overtake that we tried to catch on camera previously.
Baumann, yeah.
Yeah, that should be around Benjamin Baumann here. Oh, he had to go really deep actually to make it, and then seems like the door was finally opened.
So similar position once again. So it's that 3rd, 4th gear corner once again. But oh yeah, nice long battle this one as they come up towards the S's. Baumann trying to make it stick, it seems, as he does try and finally work it out. They actually go side by side through the S's. Oh, and a tiny little connection there finishes the deal. I was going to say side by side through the S's. That's pretty tight.
Yeah, that kind of sent Lowe a bit wide there, and that's how he gained the position. But incredible driving there, going side by side for so long. So more than happy to see that. Well, we got Tavanari and Addison in the background. That is Bryce. That's 8th to 10th position. The top 10 is obviously always hard-fought areas, basically. But Tavanari previously was involved in a few attacks here and there, but couldn't find a way around Edison just yet. Although he seems to be quick currently on the track here.
Yeah, I was talking about times and, you know, how they basically qualified through. Obviously, it's all about the quickest laps qualifying over a certain amount of times. But incredibly, Jordan Sherritt is still doing 139s, even with all his fuel on board. I don't know how he's managed to do it. Saklari, they obviously second place, they're 145s almost, not 145, 140.5 to get it across. So yeah, incredibly, Jordan Sherritt still doing 139s despite all the fuel he has in his car.
Yeah, absolutely quick, and he deserves the position he's in currently, also in the championship, not just in the race. And we'll try to have a look at Tinker van der Velde, the guy who was inside the top 5, where we were very well until he got the slight impact there from Adam, and then was sent down the grid. So he will try to have that big comeback that we always talk about when it's about drivers getting back. And we got reported a first DNF by the number 8 car, if I'm not mistaken. That should have been... No, it wasn't the number 8 car. Oh, it was 8. All right, it was gone already from my list. I was like, oh, normally it's listed as DNF, but unfortunately we lost one of the drivers. Not good to see, but I think we still got plenty of action here on the track. Basically everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, there's a real tight pack, by the way. From 12th down, there's a massive gap between 11th and 12th right now, which is Baumann and Contreras. But Contreras, look at this snake that's forming behind him. Everybody is absolutely clustering up behind him. And I got to be honest, Rene, when I see these snake forming, generally something happens within a couple of laps, which is why I was just a little concerned, because someone somewhere will make a move and then there's this massive chain reaction that may well happen.
Yeah, we see it here. Beautiful cam right from the roof of the Lamborghini from Arden Contreras, and there are a ton of cars right behind, and they all want to make a move at one point. Who's the last driver in this? Is that Lowe in the background after what happened? No, Lowe's on the white Lamborghini. They previously had the little connection and then run wide. But actually, no, it might be Lowe. Let's see if we can catch him. There's Giacomelli, Fabian, Bisolo, and then it should be Lowe in the number 203 in the background. And around Tinker van der Velde, once again, it becomes really, really close as he tries to find a way around Lowe here. Every single time he's showing himself on the inside, but he's not really finding the right moment just yet. There are no hard braking zones on this sector, so most of it is flowing. You can't really just set next to it and brake a bit later to get into it. So it makes it really hard for him to find a way here to gain another position.
Capera's still fighting hard on Crossland up in 6th and 7th at the moment. They're still really the closest battle further up the field at the moment, as everybody else is sort of starting to space themselves out. Crossland having to defend hard. Actually, a little undercut from Capera there, almost trying to work out Crossland's sort of position. That's the big curb I was talking about, and I think Crossland just clipped it. That sent him wide. That puts Capera through.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him there. It's like he was in a good position previously, and then all of a sudden it kind of slips out of your hand and your race is gone, at least for now. So he has to get back now into the rhythm, and we saw that right before we swapped over to Crossland, Tinker van der Velde using the flash button of his car quite frequently here to find a way around Lowe. Not really working so far, still stuck in 17th, and now up the inside. There might be enough. Lowe not really defending, not trying to close the door. There's another car that spun around there. Who was that? Didn't catch the starting number, but Tinker van der Velde is still side by side with Lowe. No, finally he has the upper hand and he might get around. And that was Luke Addison, from all the way up the front. Lost a ton of positions here because he has to slot in behind Tinker van der Velde. We saw his car still standing there when van der Velde and Lowe passed it, but for now van der Velde is through and Lowe just lost the back end. We talked about that in these flowing corners. It's hard to get the traction right, even with the traction settings on the car, and we know that the drivers love to play around with them. Sometimes it just goes wrong.
Yeah, and that very much went wrong. So, you know, it's what we were talking about. There's a lot of issues on this track, areas where you can really make some errors. Let's have a look at it on your screens here, because obviously it was just a simple case of getting it a little wrong here. Here we see Addison. So, just lost the back end. Whether he went in too much, I don't know. I mean, whether he just got on the power too much there, or just completely lost the back end. As you're saying, maybe playing with the traction control a little too much.
Yeah, it's like, so you obviously want to get the maximum out of it. So, people are not used to driving with race traction controls. They often ask, like, well, would you not use it, right? It's like, you want it on, you want it to be as safe as it gets. But safe also means that you kind of lose the slip, because when we're talking about race driving, then it's mostly up to, let's say, 0.6 degrees, what you can go up to of a sliding angle in or out of a turn. As you get the car to rotate a bit more, so you have to steer less, which means you can probably carry more speed and all of that. So you don't want to have the traction control really strict that it's safe. You want it to be a little loose on the background to be able to maneuver the car and put it in the position you like it to be.
Just didn't work out well for him there, and that's obviously shook things up a little bit again. So at the moment, top three or podium positions at the moment, there's still some way to go in this race. Jordan Sherritt, Kevin Seclari and Tariq Adam. Now don't forget, Tariq Adam is still carrying that 5-second penalty as well. So for Grubler, who is in fourth, he just needs to make sure he can stay within that 5-second gap, and he absolutely is it right now, because he's right on the back of Tariq Adam, and he's also being pressured by Razzieri, who obviously we saw putting the pressure on earlier on. He seems to have gained quite a bit of ground on the back of Grubler here, so I feel there's starting to be a bit of a backlog between Tariq Adam.
Yeah, it seems like it at least, and Adam might struggling with a bit of motivation, right? You know you've got those 5 seconds on you already, so if he comes into the pits, then we'll need to stand another 5 seconds, or it will be added at the end of the lap, at the end of the race. So not really happy with that, especially since he got Grobler and Razzieri right behind, just waiting for him to make a mistake. Sheriff, he got 4.5 seconds of a gap already, so he will be quite happy by now, I would say, because start went absolutely fine for him. So Clary right behind, and then there's a bigger gap of 2 seconds, 2 seconds and a bit, to Adam and the fighting group that we have on the screen right now.
Jordan Sherritt just set yet another best lap, by the way, of 1:39.7 back there. So as the fuel drops, he's getting quicker and quicker up the front, and very much leaving Kevin Seclari behind now. He's not really in the same vision as I watch him just going through the S's at the moment. So he's definitely gained some ground there. Back towards Tariq Adam, definitely the car to watch at the moment, says Grubler, and Razzieri tried to put the pressure on him, this battle for the podium position here in the first sprint race.
Tinker van der Velde still working on his comeback. Now he closed the gap to Fabian and Giacomelli, and let's see if he can take down Fabian a bit quicker than previously with Lowe. That had cost him a lot of time to make to find a way around there, and he does not really want to have that, because if he wants to be within the top 10, then it has to happen now. He is quite close, as we can see, to Fabian, and Giacomelli is not much further away either. But the higher he gets now in the grid, the harder it will become to overtake.
Yeah, it shows how much quicker he is as well, because as soon as he's got past Martinelli, straight in the back of Fabian, went half a second a lap quicker than Fabian. Fabian again losing that back end a little bit, opening up for Tinko here. Tinko having a little look, realizing, yeah, the cheater's not the place to do it, but that's put Fabian a little wide, so you can see the pressure is starting to accumulate. But the problem is for Tinko is the fact that, as you say, they're stacked up here, so to take one, it's very risky, because they're all battling with one another, so you may be sometimes a little unaware about the car coming up alongside you.
Yeah, we saw that was the big sausage curb you talked about earlier. You do not really want to jump over that one. It really unsettles the car, and if it loses balance and steps out in the rear once again, then you spin around and you might end up like look at Addison, who's now in 19th after, I'm pretty sure he was in the top 8 last time we left him, so you won't be happy about that mistake. But it's part of racing. Look at this fighting road. It will be very exciting to see Tinker van der Velde work on this and maybe try to put Fabian in the right spot for him to make a maneuver and get that move going. But so far, he hasn't. There's another group in the back. Matali, Bisoglio, and Lowe. As obviously, Lowe wants to get back as well after the little contact he had. Always dropping a tyre there. It's quite risky, I would say.
Tinko still looking at the inside of Fabian. Not going to be an opportunity for him. He really needs to look at maybe building and setting up the move rather than just trying to work on Fabian's mistakes, I feel, which is maybe what he's looking to do here. But the problem is when you're doing that, obviously you only have so much time to do that in, and I think for him, he feels that time is against him because he wanted to be in the points. He was running in, what, 3rd place before he got spun by Tariq Adams, so definitely going to be feeling very aggrieved going into the next sprint race and wants to try and get his positions better going for the pit stop.
Yeah, Tinker van der Velde coming in, and we also saw Jean-Blanc Fabienne now trying to make a first impression on Giacomelli as they all run onto Contreras. So Contreras definitely not the quickest driver among this group right now. He bunches everyone up because that gap between Fabienne and Giacomelli was a bit bigger previously. At least for now, Fabienne got a clear rearview mirror as we saw Tinker van der Velde actually pitting.
Yeah, so we'll see whether he's able to gain much on the undercut. We'll see how it works out for them. Of course, you know, undercuts, overcuts, you never really know when it's going to benefit you. From his point of view, I think it's absolutely the right decision. He obviously stuck in a queue of traffic, and I think he just wants to try and get in, get that done, get out of the way, and try and get him some clear air because, as I say, he was running half a second a lap faster. He caught up with that pack instantly the second he managed to pass the driver. Tariq Adams still causing a bit of a backlog. Grubler and Razzieri still caught up behind him, unable to get past. As I say, it's a really tricky track to put those clean maneuvers on, and if you're really kind of relying on effectively the driver in front to make a bit of an error for you to get past, and Tariq Adams not doing that right now. Is running pretty clean.
Yeah, but he still has those 5 seconds looming above him, so they should all be aware of that. Still, Razzieri would be interested in passing a Grobler because then he gets the position of Adam if they stay close enough, as he now pulled into the pit, so we'll get his 5-second penalty gone by now. Tavenari also in the pits, so yeah, this is now the fight for a podium spot between Grobler and Razzieri.
Yeah, Jordan Sherritt staying out as well. And why not? Because he's just absolutely smashing it. Oh, I just heard Tariq Adams missed his pit box. And he's actually reversed. That's going to lose him a lot of time. On top of that 5-second penalty he's had to serve. So absolutely disaster for him. And we were talking about, you know, how much mental effect it has on you. Well, I think that just shows right there that he's definitely been under pressure. We'll see whether it pulls him out on the pits. But as I say, the front two still sticking out there. As well as Grubler and Razzieri all staying out at the moment. So going to be keep our eyes on whether this undercut pays off.
I really wonder, with Tinker van der Velde coming into the pits that early, if that was the best decision or if he had to due to something on the car, because he could have had more clean air with everyone pitting, kind of gaining on them with the slightly used tire because he was quicker than the guys in the back, right? And then have his pit stop, but instead he's now setting himself to the back, hoping to get a few quick and clean laps now to when them pulling in, he might be through.
I think it was the right choice. I really do. He was in a train of, 3 cars ahead of him.
Yeah,
and he's just looking at it and just thinking, you know what? I'm just losing time every time I try and get past this. I'm watching him now from his point of view. It's such a clean driver. He's just going to be fuming to be further down here. So he's just realizing, you know what? I've got, 25 minutes to just blast it and try and get as high a position as I can for the next sprint race. And that's what he's aiming for. And I think Tinko is going to gain a lot of time doing this. I'll keep my eyes on how quick a lap he starts to do. See whether he does have too much damage on there. We know that he can do 139s. We know it's possible. The only person at the moment doing that is Jordan Sherritt. So we'll see whether he has the pace to go along with him and Ciclari.
Razzieri and Capera, we saw them pulling into the pits. Also, Giacomelli and Lowe are now in, getting rid of their mandatory pit stops. So that's half the grit, I would say, loosely, that are done with their pit stops. Jordan Sherritt, I mean, I think we saw him going long in Monza as well, actually. When he's in the lead and he feels dialed in and car feels good. I just think there's no reason for him until he really feels like his pace is dropping off.
Well, they're all coming out of the pits now. Tinko's just gone around Cheetah, so not going to gain too much on this. There's going to be maybe make 1 or 2 positions here as he comes past the pits. He's going to be coming out around about 14th place, so he has gained ground there, I feel. Did do a 40.7, so still not that quick, but definitely gaining places.
Yeah, 15th is not where he wants to be. He's aiming for the top 10, but that would be Razzieri, the leader of the guys that pitted so far, and that's quite far away. Not that easy to close that gap, but at least he has some clean air now, so he can spread his wings and get a bit quicker if it works. Seclari and Grobler. So Kevin Seclari, second position. He's now pulling into the pits as well. We see his car coming in here. Grobler right behind, so that's a direct fight as well. Which brings Charlie Crossland up to second. Well, he obviously also has to do his pit stop, and so does Jordan Sherritt.
Yeah, it's quite ironic that Tinko is now, what, 7 seconds behind Tarek Adam, the man that wiped him out. So that 5-second penalty, I thought it was a little subtle at the time, has certainly not benefited Tinko, who's been stuck further down there, but we'll see whether he does work out. Hello, just further behind them, I'm seeing Fabian trying to put a move onto Gersamelli further down there, looking to try and get past. These guys were both stuck in the pits when Tinker went past, so they are both sort of fighting for position further down in 15th and 16th.
Seclari coming out of the pits easily in front of all the others, so not losing any time with running a bit longer. As you can see, Contreras, Martelli also in the pits now. Seclari the leading car. And we just heard that Grobler, 69, gained 1 position. But I don't think that's correct, because...
No, he
did. He did. Because Grobler was in 4th, and 3rd was...
Yeah, but that was Tarek Adam that had to serve his
Tarek Adam,
so it doesn't... I mean, he did and he didn't, yeah. I mean, it was always going to happen, effectively. But yeah, it was obviously Razzieri, who is behind him still, was his nearest competitor. And someone that has gained is Capera. Capera is now up with Razzieri and Grobler, who was some way behind them, so he's definitely gained some time in there, whether it was the undercut or overcut, whatever happened. Jordan Sherritt, though, race leader in the pits, so he's come in. We'll see how that shakes out. Kevin Seclari has already pitted, remember, so obviously that's the undercut chance that he's looking for. However, in terms of where he is on the track, still some way back. He's coming around the tight corner now as he goes through up towards Cheetah. I'm keeping my eye onto Jordan Sherritt to see whether he's going to be coming out the pits. Yes, he is just on the exit of the pit now, and he should still be out clean and in the lead.
Yeah, not even sure if Kevin Seclari can actually see Jordan Sherritt as he's now on the start-finish stretch. That was the pit exit, and I can't spot any Jordan Sherritt. Maybe up there in the corner there was one car. That could have been Jordan Sherritt, and let's be honest here. That might be the last time you get a look at his car when you're Kevin Seclari.
Yeah, Tinko van der Velde, by the way, up to 11th, so absolutely paid off for him. Now he's putting the pressure onto Bryce, and he may go around the outside of Bryce here. Bryce is not having any of it, putting his elbows out and forcing him wide, so making sure that doesn't happen. But Tinko van der Velde, bearing in mind, he was 14th when he went in the pits, so the undercut paid off for him, and he's looking to gain places and chasing towards that top 10, but Bryce is not letting him past.
Yeah, that looks really tight between those two now. Once again, he tries on the outside, Tinko van der Velde, but with that long sweeping corner, it's not that easy. But look how close he gets to the rear diffuser of Bryce, and Bryce really defensive into each and every corner, trying to make sure that Tinko van der Velde is not finding any way around. But that's a ton of pressure for Miguel Price here. To live under, I would say. It's not easy at all, and Tinko van der Velde is not one to give up that easily when he wants to make that overtake.
No, I think he's obviously realised he's got himself ahead on that undercut. Now he's buoyed effectively, you know, over the hump of the fact that obviously he was sent packing early on by that spin. Now looking to try and benefit as much as he can. We know he's a quick driver. He absolutely can do it. 140.5 his best lap so far, and that was his last lap as well. So he's absolutely flying right now, chasing the back of Bryce. Bryce himself, his best lap is only a 141.0, so half a second faster Van der Linde, and Tinko this time may well have that inside. It's going to be a straight up drag race down here. If you can just tuck inside, it's going to be hard on the brakes and see if you can do Bryce fully on the defensive.
Yeah, Bryce once again has to do, and there's absolutely nothing, there's no chance for him to ever concentrate on going forward, and there he launches up the inside. Tinker van der Velde is through on the left-hander. There might be the switchback, though. They go in side by side into the next one. Oh, look at that. Well, we love that. Kyalami really delivering on these assists each and every time in terms of overtaking. Another switchback by Tinker van der Velde, but not enough to still make it through, and great defensive drive then by Bryce here.
Yeah, fantastic. He realizes, you know what, you can try and dive up the inside, but you are going to be well out of position. No way you're going to have the drive over me there, and gets the accelerator down. Bryce keeps him back as we approach the S's. I don't think there's going to make a move here, but there is a hairpin coming up once again as they go through the S's, up a little bit of a hill, and then you got to really pick your braking point to try and stay out wide and swing it through. See whether he manages to work it in there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Tinko's just going to keep his eye out really close, but still not a point to overtake. He's going to be looking once again, I think, at that start-finish straight.
Yeah, so there's not much you can do. You don't want to run over the big sausage curb coming up next for an overtake, but he also knows if he really puts pressure on Bryce, that's also a corner where people tend to do mistakes and leave a bit too much room. That was Tinko doing the mistake here. I think he ran a bit too deep into that corner and then was struggling to get the traction out of it. That's what I mean here. If you run wide, then there's an easy chance to get through, but did not happen this time, and he might not be as close as he had been last lap.
Another fastest lap coming out of Jordan Sherritt, continuing to hit his stride. Meanwhile, looking further back, actually, Guacamele is also having a little peek there. But this time, are we going to see the switch back from Van der Velde? No, Bryce goes out wide. Van der Velde's just going to have to try and play it coy up behind him and just be a little bit passive and look for Bryce to make that mistake rather than trying to force it like he did before.
Tinko is, he always, it's funny, right, because we don't see the faces of these drivers. It's not like I spend 6 dinners with Tinko van der Velde to know what he's up for, but sometimes they kind of have an aura in these cars, right, and you feel like, okay, now he's heated up, now he's a bit more aggressive, he really wants to make it happen, he ran out of patience, and it's interesting to see that with Tinko van der Velde, because it's this weird mix between, he's definitely aggressive, but he's not overly aggressive just yet. He still knows where to step back and make sure to not ruin his own race.
Absolutely, yeah. He's trying to keep it as clean as he can and make sure it doesn't connect anything here. But Bryce is definitely going to be a gatekeeper into the top 10, it seems, for Van der Velde, who's just trying to improve his own race into where he was. I mean, obviously, in terms of positions, he's lost 8 places from where he started. So just trying to gain back as much as he can after that spin early on.
Yeah, in the background, that's Giacomelli and Fabienne fighting, but Giacomelli not close yet to make a move. Similar distance as Tinko van der Velde has to Bryce. Once again, they come across the line, and Tinko van der Velde did not make it through just yet. We still got 15 minutes to go, so that is quite a while, I would say. But in the GT race, and you're fighting and trying to find a hole in the defense somewhere, 15 minutes can be nothing.
Speaking of drivers that had a bit of a disaster, Addison, obviously we saw him spin earlier on. Further down the field, 16th place and 17th place, with Luke Addison just up behind, just keeping his eye on what's going on. He's going to do exactly that and absolutely pounce on the mistake made by Bisogli, and up he goes into 17th.
He's not really through yet, I think, because they're still going side by side. Not easy when those two beautifully looking blue Lamborghinis. Not an easy fight at all. Who comes out on top? That's the big question here between Luke Addison and Bisoglio, but it seems like Addison now has it done. Number 26 car up to 17th, and not really yet the big comeback. There's still a ton of places he could win, and he only got 14 minutes to do so.
Yeah, running out of time and just trying to improve his race. Definitely going to be ones to watch at the start of the next race, that's for sure. Let's have a look at the overtake here. This is coming out of number 21. Obviously, Bisoglio also was caught out, so shame. But that was obviously Addison. And again, look, just caught out of position, trying to make the move onto Leok there, and then immediately he was just bogged down, and in comes Addison, just pounces. Tinko, meanwhile, still unable to make his move pay off, by the way. He's actually backed off a little bit from Bryce, so maybe being a little bit more reserved here. Maybe trying to control himself. Grobler just ran wide, actually, up in third place. That was a bit of a wide angle for him there. Maybe giving a little bit of a glimmer of hope to Razzieri and Capera, who are still looking to try and break into that top 3 podium positions. In terms of race leader, Jordan Sherratt very much running away with it still at the moment. He's got himself a pretty hefty lead. Capera, though, definitely right on Razzieri now, so he's starting to look and maybe look to improve his position, but he's got to be careful. There's only 12 minutes remaining in this race, and remember, positions will carry over into the next sprint race, the hour-long sprint race. So, Capera ran wide.
Yeah, Capera closed the gap to Razzieri, but now we see him struggling a bit. That was a bit too wide. Did not lose too much time, though. I mean, if we look at the onboard now, he's quite close, but the exit not good enough to really use the slipstream to close the gap to Razzieri, and then maybe launch it into turn 1. So Michael Capera will have to stay on 5th, at least for now. But he's there, he's with the guys, and he knows that there's still a Grobler in front of him, so that is a podium spot. Where the green Lamborghini is, that's where you want to be, because you want to lift the trophy on the podium.
I tell you what, talk about responding to pressure. Mignet Bryce, who obviously with Tinko up behind him, has just posted his fastest lap of a 140.5 as Tinko's keeping that pressure on him. So, you know, his fastest lap before that was a 141, so he's just lost half a second in that lap, feeling the pressure from Tinko van der Velde behind him. So definitely seems to be a man that responds to that pressure well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was defending through several turns, and now he's spreading the gap at least a bit and getting away from Tinko van der Velde, a driver that was previously inside the top 5. So yeah, he can be happy with that, with his pace in total. Unfortunately, it's nearly 7 seconds up to position 9, where Adam is after his 5-second penalty. So there's not much to gain across the next 11 minutes he still has left, unless someone makes a mistake up front.
Capera is all over the back of Razzieri, isn't he? 4th and 5th position. Capera definitely trying to put a move on. He keeps trying to force the issue. Razzieri's looking at undercuts, switchbacks. He's trying everything at the moment to see what he can try and squeeze past that huge rear wing of the Lamborghini, of course, of Razzieri. And now, as they go over the start-finish line, through the kink, they're going to be looking to see if he can get hard on the brakes once again. Just has a little look up the inside, not close enough. Going to have to follow through.
Yeah, but Capera, each and every time he loses a bit of time, and the gap gets a bit bigger and increases, and then all of a sudden it decreases again, as Capera is so good on the brake and closing these gaps once again, but it doesn't really get him into a position to launch an attack. That's the problem, because every single time we go onto a stretch, he's losing a bit. Might be a difference in setup as well between Razzieri and Capera. But I'm pretty much sure that Michael Capera still thinks there will be a shot for him in this race. And look how close he gets once again, right behind. You see, it's a bit of dirty air. You lose part of your downforce when you're that closely. Besides the simple fact of, hey, there's someone right in your windshield, which makes it a lot harder to find your braking points.
Yeah, he's been looking to try and set up a move at the moment, just trying to work it out. Let's have a look at a replay of a mistake made earlier on. Let's see what this is from. Okay, this is further down the field. Looking at 203's the 17th place. Oh, yeah, there's that big curb at Cheetah. Just clattered over it, and oh my god, it unsettles the car so much.
Yeah, Lowe got really lucky there, not losing the car entirely. Like, he cashed it very well and brought it back onto the track. Can be happy about it, but it cost a ton of time. We saw it there, immediately lost the position. He's down to 17th. Now Edison up to 16th. Contreras still in 15th, so will probably be the next fight if Edison can close that gap quick enough.
Jordan Sherritt, race leader. Still 8 minutes to go. Absolutely bossing this one. And the current championship leader as well. Showing it how it's done. Really dominant performance from him. Ciclari as well, to be fair, has kind of been away and gone. Grusler and Razzieri, obviously Capera, all having that little battle further down the field, but it's simply a battle for who is going to be fourth rather than anything. Grubler, has completely left them behind now. So I say completely, I mean it's a second gap, but it's still enough with 8 minutes to go that you should be clear of this one. And Jordan Sherritt just coasting, just doing what he does, starting hot laps. That's what he's looking for right now, and just coasting around 140s every single lap.
Yeah, a real champ. I mean, if you run so consistent, no matter the track, and scoring big points each and every time, and showing that you're the quickest in the hot lap qualifier, that is true dominance. And I think he is a driver that really deserves to have that Lamborghini experience.
Capera continuing to keep that challenge on. Further down the field, how's Tinko doing? Tinko still trying to chase onto Bryce, still yet to get past. I wonder if he's looking to try and get into that top 10 perhaps and score himself some important points. Adam on the back of Baumann as well. He's continuing to keep that pressure down. Crossan's been under pressure from Tavernier for quite a while, but Crossan, honestly, I think he's gained 6 points, 6 places. Yeah, Kevin Crossan, Charlie Crossan, sorry. And Baumann also gained 6 places throughout this race, so all benefiting very well from obviously mistakes made. But Grobler up into that top 3 from 6th place start. He's going to be very happy with his race, how it's progressed.
Interesting that Van der Velde was able to get rid of that 1 second gap that Bryce was building, and is now once again in striking distance to get that top 10 spot off the hands of Bryce. But I also saw that that number 71 is more than capable of defending himself here on the track, and doing that in a remarkable fashion.
Razzieri is still fighting tooth and nail with Capera. It's not going to ease up for the next 6 minutes, as they are both lapping in the low 140s at the moment, just trying to keep themselves abreast of the situation, keep themselves up. In terms of fastest laps overall, let's have a little look around, see what's been going on. Obviously, Jordan Sherritt, the quickest out there, 139. The only driver still to do a sub 140 as well. So even with Ciclari, his best lap is only a 140.2. Further down the field, quite a few 140.2s by the way out there. But Luke Addison's, obviously he got sent off the track earlier on by his own making. He did a 140.4, but he's down in 15th, so it's definitely going to be very interesting further down. Tinko is having another look on Bryce.
Yeah, he's so close once again. This time the exit was a lot better. Across the curb there, and that's a slight mistake by Bryce. That will give the upper hand to Tinko van der Velde, at least on the straight. Let's hope that he gets the speed. But look at that. Even with slipstream, Bryce just manages to keep on so much momentum when hitting that stretch. It's hard for Tinko van der Velde to find a way. Now he's launching it up the inside. That might be enough this time. Switchback from Bryce. We had the similar things a few laps ago, and it was Bryce having the upper hand at the end. And this time, Bryce was even quicker doing it, but Tinko van der Velde right in there again, not giving up, but can't get the car alongside Bryce here, and has to look at that beautiful rear of Bryce once again for a few more corners.
Oh, he's going to be so angry. He's just not being able to send it and be defensive. He's just losing it on the drive. And once again, it's very much a repeat of about 6 or 7 laps back, isn't it, of when we saw the same move happen as they go through the S's and continue to try and fight for that 10th place position. Not something I think Tinko probably would have thought about earlier on when he was running in 3rd position. He was looking to try and put a challenge at the top, but hard on the accelerator he may well be. Bryce has responded very well.
He definitely did, and so far all that pressure did not really concern him, it seems. And I think Ayrton Contreras did a mistake, because he was in front of Addison and Lowe. It's now listed 18th. I think if that isn't his livery, then his right side of the car seems a bit damaged. Look at that. Front right, rear right. Yeah, I think the 68 had a little off.
He's had it off somewhere. Don't know where. Maybe try and have a look back further for that one. Tarek Adam, by the way, on the back of Baumann as well. So while I've been looking obviously at Tinko van der Velde and Bryce, Adam closing the gap there as well. Let's have a little look what exactly happened further down that field.
And by the way, Capera actually passed Ruggieri. That's what we have on screen here. Interesting though. No, that was... Oh, okay. That was the situation Bryce against Tinko van der Velde. But Michael Capera is now listed as 4th. So it seems like got around Ruggieri. So I hope we can catch that as a replay as well. They probably did that right at the same time we were watching Van der Velde and Bryce. Oh, these two are tight fighting groups. You can see now Michael Capera 4th. And then Ruggieri cross-lent right behind. So for Capera, the way is open now to get onto a podium if he catches Grobler, but 2 minutes 20, I fear that won't be enough for him to close the gap and then also find a way around.
No, exactly. It's been a hard-fought race for Capera. He's worked his way up there very well. In terms of gains, he's gone up 4 positions, so he's going to be very happy with how that's worked out. Tinko Vision continuing to chase on Bryce. Tarek Adam further just 9th and 8th place right on the back of Baumann.
Both drivers doing a mistake here. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's Tinko off. Yeah, no, he's gone. He's gone.
That was the typical... I'll do the exact same as the guy in front of me does. You know,
following too close, yeah.
Yeah, you know how that feels, right? You're racing, you see him making a mistake, and you're like, that's it, I'm through. And then you realize, no, I'm actually copying the same mistake.
I've made the same error. It's a big problem, but yeah. Tarek Adam, I wonder with 1.5 minutes to go whether he's going to try and make a move on Baumann. He is sort of probably the closest out there in terms of that. As you say, with Tinko making that mistake, that has put him pretty much out of the touch for the next, 1 minute left. Where's Jordan Sherritt's position on the track right now? You can see he's coming up. So we are going to have another lap. We'll have one more lap to go because Sherritt will be crossing the line in just a few moments.
He's coming around the last corners there. He's in the 3rd sector. And no, Tarek Adam is already alongside Baumann. And it seems like that's an easy one. Still outside. And Baumann might have a comeback here on the inside. Yes, double left-hander. Small touch between those cars. And Tarek Adam sent back to 9th once again. To me, it looked like he was already through, but nope, not here. That's tight GT racing.
Yeah, he's flashing his lights as well. Not happy with that one, Tarek Adam, but looking to try and keep on in. He may be thinking it was probably the last lap, but now they're going to be approaching Chi to make sure they don't clip that inside. And this is a battle that's going to go on for the next lap as he tries to go for the switchback here. Around onto the start-finish straight. They could be side by side, but Baumann goes defensive, and that may well just losing some time there because Adam will be right under his rear wing here, and it's going to be all about the braking zone. Both trying to defend. You can see Adam swings out wide. He's looking to try and go outside and switch in and get the better drive out of it, but Baumann positions his car very well there to be defensive.
Yeah, look at that. What a fight we've seen here last lap, and these guys still going at each other full force, and Adam is looking for the way around. He feels quicker than Baumann, and he definitely is. I mean, he launches an attack, and each and every time he gets beaten, he gets another chance right after, but not around the outside, not on this long right-hander. Still can't really carry that much speed, but see how he's now getting more aggressive with switching from left to right. It's not a smooth transfer anymore from the left side to the right side. Instead, he's more like open wheeler style. And it's like going left, going right. So that's a close one. But Jordan Sherritt, he's now really close to get yet another win to statistics in the Lamborghini The Real Race. And coming around the last corner here for the sprint race. 45 minutes. Absolute dominance from this driver. And Jordan Sherritt getting another win right next to his name.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from him. Seclari will follow shortly behind that. Looks like Tarek Adams' chances has gone, by the way, in that battle with Bauman. I just kept my eyes on that to see how it played out, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any chances. So Seclari now coming over the line. A great second place for him, really not under pressure. Obviously, Grubler also. What a great drive from him, gaining 3 places there, getting himself on that podium. Capera finally made that move stick. I'm watching Tarek Adams. He comes around that corner as well, seeing if he can get around there. Crossland also under the pressure of Tavernier as he went over the line as well. So a fantastic opening first sprint race here at Kyalami. Tinko is still going to be angry that he didn't get it work, didn't get it stick. Bryce is just flashing his lights. It was like, yep, kept you back there, son. Stayed down in 10th place as John Sherritt does some donuts.
Yeah, I mean, he can eat some donuts, he can do some donuts. I really don't mind, because he absolutely deserves whatever he wants to do to celebrate this performance. I mean, he is on point each and every time we hit the track, and it's really, there's a huge skill gap right now between him and most of the grid. We have to say that. Jordan Sheriff just in complete control of the EMEA region, and if he keeps going like that, I'm pretty much sure there's no one capable of taking away the win of the championship from him.
Yeah, absolutely. He has dominated. He's got himself a huge lead already built. And for Kevin Seclari, he's just got to hope that Sherritt just doesn't turn up on one of these races, because he's been there right on the back of him every single time. But just Jordan Sherritt has just been so strong throughout. I said it throughout the qualifying for this race. I mean, effectively, it's the home Grand Prix, right? In South Africa, so you know it's the race that he absolutely will be delighted to be picking up a first winner.
Yeah, and he did in great fashion, and we had a good race for sure. We had a ton of fights and great defense this time, I have to say. So kudos to all the drivers out there that put that on the screen for us. And if you're worried now, it's like, oh wait, first race over. It's only the first race. That's why it's called first race and sprint race, right? We got an hour of racing coming up. All of that, more racing with Lamborghini The Real Race right after the break. Lamborghini The Real Race round and race number 4. Not really race all because we're doing 2 races today. We got the sprint race behind us, 45 minutes of action with Lee Smith and myself, René Butler, and now we're heading over to a 1-hour race. And is that really another one, Lee, that Jordan Sheriff can control as he did previously? Does he have so much, like, concentration ready to do that whenever?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. yes.
Easy answer. There we go.
I think he can. This is just bread and butter for him, isn't it? Like, how many hours has this man spent sitting in his sim rig, built up for this moment? He wants to be driving that Lamborghini for reals at the end of the season. At the moment, he is on track to do just that. But we are only approaching the halfway point. It's not like we are this is a done deal. There's still a long way to go and a lot of points to be had, but he is looking pretty good at the moment. But you know, Kevin Seclari up behind him in second place is keeping him in check all the way.
Yeah, Seclari, we didn't talk much about him during the race because for Sheriff and him it was kind of calm, right? They had a slight side-by-side during the first 2 turns, if I'm not mistaken, on the race, and that's it. That's why we didn't have them on cam the entire time. But both obviously had an amazing pace and great concentration consistency across the first 45 minutes. Now we're having a 1-hour race. And if we're looking at one position, there was Fabienne who gained a ton of position, I think 6 or 8 positions in the sprint race. And so did, currently looking for the other driver that was missing. Baumann, and Crossland.
And Grubler went up 3 places as well. So
yeah, so there have been a few drivers that had great 45 minutes. So let's see if they can now build up on that going into the main race, going into the 1-hour feature.
Yeah, and let's not forget about Portinko, who was sent packing early on. He's obviously going to be starting out down in 11th place. Interestingly, Tarek Adam will also be down there, I think, in 9th or 8th, somewhere around there. And also, don't forget about the man that made an error himself, Addison. He's also going to be out of position. So it's going to be very interesting opening to this race. Quite a few cars from qualifying times in terms of lap times that they can do will be feeling out of place. So we could have quite a lot of overtaking at the start of this.
Definitely. I mean, let's be real here. They're on fresh tires going into this race. They hopefully had a drink in between, right? So they're concentrated, and if they really nail the lap times right from the get-go, they could gain a ton of position when they're out of their starting range where they should normally be.
Yeah, and if you just joined us, obviously it's going to be an hour-long sprint race this time around, so just a little bit quicker, a little bit more fuel. They still need to make that regular 1 pit throughout it, regulation 1 pit when the pit window opens, so look towards that, whether they're the undercut, the overcut. From what I could tell in the last one, certainly for Tinko, the undercut worked, but that was only because he was in traffic, so he managed to beat the traffic there. Overall, there wasn't a great deal gained between, it was hard to tell between Sheraton and Seclari. They obviously, I think Seclari came in 1 or 2 laps earlier, but I think Sheraton just had such a lead that it didn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel great with the car and the current state of the tires, then although you might know that, I could go, 0.3, 0.4 quicker on the new set, but hey, it feels good. I got everything under control. While risk it, right? He doesn't have to.
I think Sherritt was actually doing quicker laps on the set before he pitted than he was on the new set that he got. I think his quickest time came from the older set. So that's just how racing is sometimes. You feel comfortable on him. Yeah, they feel good. And then I think probably once he came out of the pits and realised he was still in the lead by pretty sizable margin, I think he just coasted it. I say coasted, he was still doing it in like 140.2s.
He's a quick driver. There's no arguing about that, and he also seems to be. Normally we talk about they're hot lappers, right? That are really quick on the single lap, but they can't really manage that in the race. Jordan Sheriff can. He's quick in hot lapping, and then he comes onto the server and is like, all right, I can do the same now for 1 hour, for 2 hours, whatever you ask me to do, I will do it. And he's a proper pickup for every team out there, and that's why he was picked up by a team previously. And I can see now that all the cars are ready on the grid once again, just getting the setups right. So not getting lost and having the right amount of fuel, hopefully, because we're now going 15 minutes or longer.
Yes, yes. So everybody pretty much good to go. Session is about to start. The 30-second countdown kicking in. They're all, of course, around the back of the grid. I think they're at the S's, aren't they? Let's have a look. Yeah, no, tell a lie. They're just before Cheetah. You can see it right in the screen. Giant yellow sausage curb that will caught Addison off guard in the last straight, that's for sure, and sent him packing, and certainly will catch a few off guard, but they've got to be careful of that when they get things underway in 10 seconds time.
Yeah, they will soon roll towards the finish line, and got a beautiful look at all the starters, obviously. So Chariot, Seclari, Grobler, Capera, Ruggieri, that's the top 5. Then Crossland, Taverni, Baumann, Adam, and Bryce to end the top 10. Thunderfelder on the 11th after at least I would say a decent comeback from what happened in the previous race. But you will be looking for more, and same for Addison, who's in 15, as we previously talked about. So might be the drivers to look out for. Ruggieri, I think he had a good start in the race last time. And Jordan Sheriff will be in control. If he runs away from Seclari right away, then he will be hard to catch. I'm absolutely sure about that.
So let's see. Green light drops. There's the flags getting ready to go. There they go. You see them change the second we get there, and Sherritt hits the gas and immediately gets himself a pretty comfortable lead. Grobler going to be challenged by Capera as well, who obviously feels he could have done better. Oh, that's going to be an interesting corner. First one coming in, because look at this. Grobler trying to get alongside Seclari. Seclari having to go defensive, and that gives Jordan Sherritt all the time he wants. Grobler up the inside, still going to continue, and he is going to get through. That's a great move on Seclari. We also see 2 cars going wide further down. Looks like Tinko also made up some track as well, if he's remaining in that red car.
Yes, absolutely amazing start from Jean-Claude Grobler here, up to second position. He's beating Seclari right from the get-go. He had a first attempt that did not work out, but found his second chance right after, and sets his car now onto second, chasing down Jordan Sheriff, but that's not an easy task. Kevin Seclari wasn't capable of doing that in the first race. Maybe Grobler is now. Right behind Seclari, it's now Capera, still in 4th. That's where he started. And we lost the number 66, Dario, due to a disconnect once again. Seems like internet is not on his side, that's for sure. But look at that, all that grid. There is a car side by side. Is that around Bryce, I think? That was Bryce. Yeah, Bryce against Addison, and Addison already in 9th. He started 15th, if I'm not mistaken. And it's now up to 9th, while Thunderfelde is in 8th. So, some drivers gained positions there. Thunderfelde did, Edison did. Let's see who might lost positions. Baumann down to 17th. Because I'm pretty much sure they didn't gain all these positions just from normal overtaking. Oh yeah, Tavinari, yeah, that's another driver, 26 lap, number 26, now listed at 18th. So, seems like there was a tough start for some of the drivers, and then therefore we got Thunderfeld and Edison back in the top 10.
Yeah, and we saw some going wide as well further back there, so I guess Baumann must have been one of those that was caught up and sort of got sent out. Same with maybe Contreras, I don't know. Obviously, we saw a couple going out wide into the gravel, but anyway, what a great move by Grobler at the start to get past. As I say that, he's just made a massive error. He's just made a massive error, got a toe on the grass, and that's put Seclari right back on his rear wing as they go through the S's.
Oh, that's really sad now. I mean, it wasn't a good way to spread the gap here and maybe be in the slipstream of Jordan Sheriff and getting away from Kevin Seclari, but now he feels all that pressure again. Seclari with the switchback on the inside, both touch. Seclari spins around and Grobler goes wide as well. He will lose 3, 4, 5 positions maybe. Seclari back on the track, but look at that horrible lap for both drivers. They have been second and third, and now they find themselves all the way down at the end of the top 10.
And Capera just sits and watches, sees them part the ways and drive straight through the middle. Absolutely delighted with that. Raziel behind him, so second and third changing just like that. And honestly, I don't really know who could be at fault there, because they were kind of side by side. Just instead of ignored the fact that they were next to each other. Let's have a look at the replay, because honestly, it's just they both just turned into one another.
Yeah, that was a tough situation, right? I mean, that is further back, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's Baumann against Bisoglio. Yep, turning around, facing the wrong direction. That's not really how to be quick on the track.
That's why Baumann's further down, man.
Yeah, both lost a lot of positions here. And now we got Tinker van der Velde in 6th. We got Edison in 8th. I would say kind of the loser of all of this is Bryce. Because van der Velde is in front, Edison is in front. So the only one not really gaining positions was Bryce.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting start, and we did talk about the fact that obviously Tinko and Addison were kind of out of position, so we knew they'd have certainly make some moves at the start, but I think they're going to be delighted with the fact that certainly Tinko up into 6th position because of the accident that just happened between Grobler and Ciclari, who are going to be kicking themselves, because for Jordan Sherritt, he's going to be looking at the screen thinking, that's my nearest competition, gone down to 11th place, don't know what happened there, but I'm away.
Yeah, it's really hard to stop him now. It's nearly 3.5 seconds already between Sheriff and Coppera. Grobler, after having a great start, now looks up the inside of Tinker van der Velde. But we know that van der Velde, he might have come back from the back of the pack this race, but he qualified within the top 5. So it's not like there should be a big skill gap between these two. They actually... the right pairing, basically, for a big fight. So it'll be interesting to see if Grobler can have a return from what happened in the first 2 laps.
And the interesting part is that Tinko is back up behind Tariq Adam, the man that sent him out from 3rd place down to, I think, 18th in the end there. Oh, hello, drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So somebody's already gone through that pit lane, have they? Was that car number 65, I think I just saw that as. So let's see who's going to be getting that, but that's an interesting one to have straight out. So I think it was somebody that got, yeah, Guaicamelli. So he's already down in 20th, so obviously just a misery compound. As I say that, Grobler challenging Tinko van der Velde out there, trying to get a little alongside him once again, looking up the inside, and Tinko goes defensive.
Yeah, I absolutely love Grobler there. It's like he's so smooth sending the car inside and being right next to the wheel of Tinker van der Velde. 2 great drivers battling it out right here for a top 5 spot. So far, Tinker van der Velde can manage, but Grobler, after knowing he was in 2nd, he will be furious. He wants to make it through. So it will be interesting to see if he gets that done, or if he's now losing a part of his drive that he had from the get-go. Well, we get the replay of the start, so let's see if we can kind of figure out what happened there. So that is Jordan Sherritt at the get-go. It's like he's the starting one. Ciclari right next to him. That looked good for Ciclari in the background. But look at how Grobler already was on the inside right there and started to challenge Ciclari.
Yeah, and it's getting all the way through. You can see them weaving in and out. Everybody fighting tooth and nail for positions. And then that was the corner. We haven't quite got a great angle of it. That's the corner where we saw quite a few going off towards the back. So clearly some contact happened further down the field. Car number 67 has been disqualified. That is Bazagi that has now gone. So he is out. So not a great performance for him overall. By the way, I was shout out to Charlie Crossland, who started, I think, in 12th or 13th in the previous race, worked his way up, gained 6 places in that, and now finds himself up in 4th position. So what a great race he's had so far across the 2 sprint races. Meanwhile, Addison, you were talking about Bryce earlier on, Addison under pressure from Bryce right now.
Yeah, it's like Crosslet now behind Ruggieri. We'll see if he can also launch an attack, but Bryce against Edison, that might be a very interesting fight. I mean, we saw Bryce showcasing great defensive skills. How are his offensive skills, though, as a driver? Because behind him is Fabien, and Fabien also one of the drivers that gained a lot of position in the first race, so he's definitely up for taking down drivers along the track. Shout out, by the way, to all our YouTube chat, as I just saw Lamborghini Squad Corsa saying, sometimes we do look in the chat. Yes, we do. We got that on our screens, and we'll try our best to keep you informed about absolutely everything happening on the track here.
Yeah, I always have it open, but I also have about 17 other things open at the same time, so forgive me for having quite a lot to look at.
You can close the Lamborghini car configurator now. So you will not order one today.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I was just getting myself settled to get my Huracán, but yeah, not going to happen unfortunately today. It seems I'm going to keep waiting.
Saw 3 of them, by the way, yesterday.
Yeah, really.
That's the upside of living at the Nürburgring.
Yeah. Nice.
You see a lot of them. Jordan Sheriff on screen, because we rarely catch him. He's so quick, probably cameraman problems to even follow up, so sometimes I have to click on his name to get him up there. And he's just having his usual race. Great pace so far. Good lap times, and not anyone near him to challenge.
Now, there is a little bit of a queue starting to form behind Razzieri. There's obviously Crossland and Tariq Adam, Tinko van der Velde all sort of tucking in there. All having a little look. Grobler looks like he's made a mistake because he was the one that was challenging Tinko earlier on, so he must have made a bit of an error further back. So there's a gap between himself and Luke Addison, obviously, was further down. Bryce has definitely backed off a little bit from Addison as well. But Kevin Ciclari, obviously the man out of position, I guess you could say, after that contact, is actually under pressure from Fabian right now.
Yeah, there's good fights across the entire grid, and Jean-Marc Fabien, I think he does an amazing job already in the first race, and now he's right behind Ciclari. Maybe he can make that work somehow. Also, that we got another replay of what happened previously. Van der Velde, by the way, 5-second penalty.
This is going to be why Bazagi, so he got disqualified, so I'm guessing he's just reconnected to the track and just absolutely sent it. That's an interesting replay. There we go. Yeah, just completely clattered straight into him. Nothing could be done there. And is he going to collect him again? Oh my word, I think he is.
Yeah, that looks to me like a really bad connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate. I don't want to blame him here for his driving style, as I think that was solely up to the connection. Van der Velde now basically having the 5 seconds that Tariq Adam, the car in front, had on the previous race for taking out Van der Velde. So he will not be happy about that. Maybe we get a replay.
So that must be the replay we just saw. We saw cars going wide, and my guess is that Tinko was the reason that they went wide. That's where I'm going to guess it from, because I noticed he'd gained quite a few positions. I think he went from getting 5 places or something like that from the start. Yeah, so I think
he started 11th.
Yeah, I'm guessing somewhere in there was contact, probably on that first lap. And we did talk about the fact that first lap's going to be challenging, a little too challenging, it would appear, though.
Tariq Adam, as we see in his rear view camera, that's Tinko van der Velde. And then up front, that is Charlie Crossland. So at 4, 5, and 6. I absolutely love these cockpit shots. I mean, Lamborghini Huracan, a beautiful car on the inside, no matter if it's the race car or the street car. But I just love love race cars. I just love all the...
It's that bit of suede in the front.
Yeah,
it's just
the vibe in them.
It's definitely, yeah. Charlie Crossland, though, is under pressure from Tariq Adams, so as you were talking about, and Tinko up behind him. Tinko's going to be fuming, the fact that he's now been given the penalties, so didn't exactly see what and where it was, but obviously it's got to be from that incident. The only accident that I can see at the moment is the one from the start, so everything else has been relatively clean this time round. But Charlie Crossland, as I say, great performance from him to get himself in this position up into 4th place, obviously benefiting from the accidents that have happened before him, but gained over the 2 races. He's gained around about 10 places. As I say that, Tinko passed on Adam.
A great maneuver there, and I just feels like you can't really get rid of these 5 seconds in this grid.
Oh, Adam's gone well wide. He's having a mare. He's it's the classic, once you've lost that place, you kind of lose your head for a brief moment there. And Grobler, if he's not careful, Grobler is going to be looking to make the move on him as well.
Busy first, not yet 15 minutes of the first race. So we're close to basically the maximum time of the sprint race. And so much happened already. There's definitely more to come, I'm absolutely sure about that. Ciclari, by the way, now has a bigger gap to Fabien. That's 1.7 seconds by now. So he lost time. It seems like Grobler finally gets back onto his previous pace, but now he doesn't have Tinko van der Velde in front. He has Adam instead. But I think that doesn't really matter. Grobler just wants to get back. He was second previously, and before the connection with Seclari.
Bryce putting pressure under Luke Addison as well. 8th and 9th they're running as well. We don't forget Seclari just up behind watching that all play out. But Bryce definitely putting in some quicker laps this time around than Addison. So keeping that pressure on. Everybody at the moment, by the way, pretty much running 141s or thereabouts. Just obviously the race leader 140.4. His last and best lap so far.
Yeah, quite quick in the race, although I think Jordan Sheriff will be a bit quicker once we get more into the race. Only get 26. That's Tavanari that we should see in the replay now. Overtake on his side. He's now listed 11th.
Yeah, it's past Fabian. Fabian's the green car in front of him. Fabian was putting pressure on Seclari, so I've got to assume there's been somewhat of a bit of a howler from Fabian to be that far back off Seclari, and that is simple. Fabian just running wide on what is a third, fourth gear corner, so somewhat surprised to see him caught napping there.
Yeah, not really defending there, and I think that's Baumann in the background that we saw. No, that is Baumann, so Fabian is a bit further out ahead. And then in front is Tabanari, Seclari, and Bryce. By the way, Bryce now defending against Seclari. That will be another great fight to get into, I think. So Bryce in the orange-ish Lamborghini Huracán GT3, and then we got Seclari right behind. And Seclari should be probably the second fastest driver in today's grid.
Well, I mean, he was. He's struggled to put the times in terms of quickest laps at 140.5, so still somewhat off pace, as it were, considering that's just a standard lap for Jordan Sherritt at the moment, who's leading the race and kind of smashing it as he goes. Grobler definitely putting pressure onto Tarek Allen, though, as is Bryce, as you say, with Seclari and Bryce at the moment. They are the ones challenging, so Bryce clearly making a mistake, trying to put a bit of pressure on Addison, and then in the end Seclari forcing him wide. Seclari just a little nudge there. Didn't see a bit of a quick correct of the wheel, a sharp one, but that's just lost him a little bit of time on the back of Seclari.
Making room to breathe, basically, once again. That helps a bit. Let's see what other fighting groups we have. Grobler once again a bit closer. We're still half a second. And then Seclari, basically. Crossland might face his Tinker van der Velde soon. Yep, that's the red car in the background. Van der Velde is really close already.
Yeah, he's got that 5-second penalty. Oh, he's just gone up the inside. Crossland caught napping there. I don't even think he's going to be able to get the switchback either. No, absolutely not. Tinko just sends it and makes it work. Very nicely done there. Even puts his hazards on. Just to say, yep, did ya? He's got past Resieri as well. What the hell? Where's Resieri? What's happened to him? How has he just lost so much time? And Tinko up into third place. Yes, he's got that 5 seconds still to serve, but he's going to be delighted with his driving there.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden this creates a bit group, and someone's sending it up the inside of outside of Tinker van der Velde, but he will probably be able to at least defend that fall now. Look at this, two side by side. That's Rogeri and Crossland.
Oh, he's got him
right behind. Oh my god.
Oh, and Grubler's gone into the side of him as well. It's Crossland that's going to fall, unfortunately. So he's the one that got caught out in all of that. Yeah, a bit of a disaster for him. That was a 5-second penalty for Contreras, by the way. Further down, Bryce and Addison side by side as well as they go around the fourth gear corner, trying to keep the pressure down, hard on the brakes, down to second as they cut inside. But look at Seclari. Seclari up the inside. Addison tries to close the gap. Didn't see Seclari coming, turns in on him. And now Tavernier is also looking to try and get past there. It is all getting hot, heated up here in the 10th lap.
Yeah, it seems like everyone gets started now and wants to make a move, and look how close that is between Seclari and is that still Tavanari in the back? It should be. Wow, that was quite a lot of action for just one lap.
Yeah.
Seems like they all decided, oh, we want to make it more entertaining now, exactly this second.
so let's just try and take stock. So Charlie Crossland, he got sent spiraling. He's down to 15th now. So that was a problem for him. So let's have a look at the crash for him. That's going to be what we're looking at here. Number 28, Charlie Crossland, on the replay. So I don't know what happened to Razzieri for him to be so far down. He gets up the inside of Razzieri. Tarek Adam comes through. I think as Charlie Crossland, I think he just turns in too much, doesn't he? I think he just turned in onto Razzieri, or Razzieri didn't see him there. Either way, that put him well out of position. And then it all spiraled from there. Everybody trying to avoid it, and it put all sorts of overtakes into place.
Yeah, but really the big question is, it started with Razzieri being there all of a sudden, kind of sending them to the inside because he was rolling on the outside. So what happened to Razzieri that he lost the gap he previously held for so long? It's like it was nearly 20 minutes. So interesting to see that maybe on the replay. But yeah, a lot of action, and we kind of throw around the grid once again. Fabian also a bit closer now to Seclari.
It's definitely changed the grid. Obviously, Tinko up there with a 5-second penalty still. Obviously, he's going to serve. With Tarek Adam up behind him. Grobler now in 5th. Razzieri down to 6th. From 3rd place down to 6th. So a bit of a nightmare for him. It does move Bryce, of course, up into 7th place. Luke Addison now is the one that's behind Bryce after Bryce made that move stick. Tavanari in there after Seclari connected as well with, I think Addison it was that turned in on Seclari. Didn't expect him to be coming up the inside. So lots for our race director to be looking at to figure out what and where that all went wrong, as I'm pretty sure they're going to be very busy. I could see them all in the channel chatting away, so a lot to digress and digest that just happened.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but that's what we love this race, right? Like these Huracán GT3s, they're really, really entertaining when going side by side, and GT racing in general. So love to see that, and more than happy that we have so much action in this big race.
So this is Addison getting done by Bryce, and then Seclari comes up the inside of him. So he's already going defensive there. Addison's like, oh no, I've let that through. And then turns in, and then didn't expect Seclari there at all. Just didn't see him coming. Obviously, he's been told, yeah, car on the left. He just assumed it was Bryce that had already passed him. Didn't realise there was a second car on the left. And, yeah, just turned in onto Seclari. So Seclari, unfortunate, obviously after getting connected earlier on, he's now further down. And Tavanari is now looking at getting past Addison.
Yeah, Tavanari in this sandwich of Addison and Seclari. And both drivers that know how to defend and know how to attack. So let's see if Luca Tavanari finds a way around Addison before Seclari gets in there and starts fighting. Because this is a big fighting group now, and they all have to stay close to Tinker van der Velde, because as soon as he will have his pit stop, by the way, Grobler did his already, as soon as van der Velde does his pit stop, and then it's plus 5 seconds, and they maybe all gain a position.
Yeah, so, okay, that's an interesting one that Grobler chose to come in. Obviously was a little out of place. Had certainly got himself, was he 4th, I think, when he came in? 4th or 5th? I think it's 5th, maybe. Behind Tarek Adam, wasn't he? So we'll see how that works out, because he's come out into clear track, which is obviously what his main aim was there. For Tinko, obviously, who is now running in 2nd, actually, he will also obviously have to serve his 5 seconds, so that means that who is it that's just come in? So Capera must be in the pits. Yes, he is. So Capera's come into the pits. So 2nd place, Capera in the pits. We'll see how it all shakes out. Tinko obviously going to have that 5 second when he comes in. So expect Tarek Adam and probably Razzieri, maybe even Bryce to go past him as to the pit.
Yeah, he will stay a while. That's for sure, Michael Capera.
Yeah, 5 seconds feels like a lifetime when you just stand still in that pit. Yeah.
It's horrible as a driver, that's for sure. Tinko van der Velde is still 2nd, nearly 11 seconds off Jordan Sherritt, who's still in the lead. And I don't even know, did he so far have an overtake in one of the races?
He's not had to. I mean, unless it's a back marker, right?
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see now. Tinko's got all this open track in front of him. How quick he can go. I think from his perspective, he probably wants to go quite long in his pit stop, and just now that he's got open track, just absolutely hot lap it. Do what you can. Go as quick as you can. So I'm going to be very interested to see how quick he can go now that he's got a bit of open track in front of him.
Yeah, it's like he wants to neglect basically the 5 seconds he has, right? He wants to be quick and see if he might just lose his 1 or 2 positions. 1.7 seconds to Adam, 3.1 to Ruggieri. So maybe around Bryce, that's where he would be now. But if he really lays down some hot laps, then there might be a chance to get Ruggieri instead.
But he just did his fastest lap, which is a 140.5. That was his last lap. So that was his fastest lap of the race so far. So he's definitely benefited from the clear track. And he's just going to have to absolutely floor it and see just how much quicker he can go. Poor old Charlie Crossland, by the way, down in 11th place now. After gaining so much ground, he's kind of back to where he started the first sprint race, back behind Martelli.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened to him in this race, but we're still 35 minutes to go. There might be just enough time to make it back. Seclari still on the hunt for Edison. That won't be easy. Fabian down behind, and then it's Baumann. He also has a very uneventful race normally, but he's always there around the top 10. I like that. Tavanari now also in the pits. We've got Capera, Grobler, Tavanari, and Giacomelli being done with their mandatory pit stops. And as he said, we might see Tinker van der Velde trying to run as long as possible to get away from Ruggieri. It's 1.6 seconds to Adam, 3.3 to Ruggieri. That's not enough just yet.
Crossland looking for the switchback. Not going to happen. He's right on Martelli, trying to get that 10th place back from him. Definitely trying to see if he can get through there as Crossland continues to try and see if he can dive up the inside. Here we go, little flick inside. Not going to be catching Martelli off guard. Yes, he is, but he's kind of brute forced it, cutting across the front of Martelli, but it does go through.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure Andrea Martelli was aware of what happened there, because Crossland, as he said, he wasn't really launching it up the inside, but Martelli left the door wide open. That was not a normal door. That was like a double garage for 2 SUVs kind of style. And you can't say no to that.
Or the Lamborghini tractor, maybe. You could get in there. But let's have a quick look. This is going to be Charlie Crossland replay. We just pretty much saw on the screens there. As I say, all over the back of Martelli. And as I say, just kind of left it wide open, didn't he? Yeah, really wide.
Yeah, you just can't say no to that as a driver, right? Obviously, you could have tried to stay a bit more on up the inside to not have that touch at the end, but it also wasn't too bad. No one spun out, so I think that will be fine, because Martelli would have lost the position one way or another. And now we're on board with Simone Bisoglio right behind Contreras, and Contreras has that 5-second penalty that was applied a few laps ago, but Bisoglio obviously would like to also pass him on the track already before the pit stops.
Yeah, and just to report on what's going on further up the field, obviously Capera was running in second place, just did a 140.5. He has got traffic in front of him now, though, so he's going to be a little aggrieved by that at the moment. Guacamelli is the one that's just in front of him. In comparison, obviously, he was running in second, Capera, before he did the pit stops. Tinko van der Velde, 140.6 as he goes over the line. Tarek Adam just behind him at 140.8. So not really gaining anything on the undercut. It's more a case of, if you got clean track in front of you, keep going, I think.
Yeah, we see that. It's like most of the drivers haven't been in yet, and we reached the halfway mark. 2 is 40, and then we're halfway through. So we should see a few more pit stops. Lowe and Bisoglio now come in. So Bisoglio not even trying to have another attack on Contreras. While Capera now overtook Giacomelli, who got lapped once again, so that wasn't full position. But Capera obviously wants to be as quick as possible, because he had been second. He does not want to lose out. And there's a car on the start-finish straight just to casually park it.
Who was that? It was a blue one. Dimesco Christian, apparently, turned sideways, so he was running in 13th position. I'm pretty sure he's not now. See where he's fallen from there. But yeah, just It just lost it on the start-finish streak on turn 15. I don't know how he even lost it there. Turn 16, sorry.
Yeah, it's another point of maybe of traction control settings. He was in 13. That's what you still see listed. Obviously, he didn't cross the sector mark just yet, and he dropped down a lot more. And I can tell you, since I see Lamborghinis from up close, that's not how they look in the front. Regarding the gap between the hood there. Let's see, that's him coming out of the corner, fully on the accelerator. Yeah, and then spun it around at the back.
I mean, that goes back to the traction control discussion we had, doesn't it?
We even saw him changing the traction control there. You saw that being lit up.
He was like, "Yup, that's a little too light. I might need a bit more traction."
Yeah, maybe not what I was looking for. Well, Copera, by the way, took down Christian, obviously, now, which means there is someone with a mandatory pit stop still to do.
Oh, Seclari really wide. Fabian looking up the inside of him there. Seclari was trying to make a move on Addison, ran really wide, and it's put Fabian right in the back of him. This is the battle that's still going as everybody starts to make those pit stops.
And we know Fabian can definitely gain some positions, but also Kevin Seclari, a driver that we would expect to be at least top 5, more likely podium spots.
Oh, where's Grobler? Where's Grobler? So Capera goes through. Adam just coming out the pits now. Grobler is there. Adam should stay ahead of him as he just comes off the pit marker. Grobler's going to be right on his back.
Oh, the gap's actually a bit bigger between him and Adam.
Not too bad, yeah.
I think Adam will be fine for now.
So that's worked out for Adam. So Adams went longer than Grobler, and that's worked out well for him. Now, obviously, for Tinko, he's doing the same, but of course has that 5-second penalty he has to serve.
I mean, I think Tinko does quite well. Although I fear that my connection was shortly stopping there. Tinko van der Velde was obviously not parking on the track. He was still going. He had, I think the last time we checked was 10.9. Then it was 11.2. So he obviously loses time to Jordan Sheriff, who, by the way, just pulled into the pits.
Pulled in, yep.
So Tinko van der Velde is the leader. But he wasn't losing time at a rapid pace. So let's see if that might have worked out for him. The big question now with Rogera in everyone is, where will Copera be when he comes around and passes the pits?
6, 7 all coming into the pits now, so lots of people suddenly pitting as Tinko, obviously say, goes into first. Seclari finally gets himself a little bit of clear track, looking to see if he can benefit that with Baumann also now up into third with the pit shenanigans beginning. Jordan Sherritt just sitting there in the pit, just coming out now.
Yeah, there is Capera coming around the last corner, so he was second. Let's see if he lost any position or gained any position. Sherritt is already out. No, he's right behind Jordan Sherritt, so normally, after everyone like Contreras, Baumann, Seclari, van der Velde did their pit stop, we should have the normal top 3 again, Sherritt, Capera, and Rogeri.
Yeah, and we'll see where Tarek Adam falls into that. I think he may actually come out. I think he's going to stay third because obviously he was up behind Tinko, who was running third. Rogeri had actually made the big mistake, so he was further back than Grobler, obviously. But so he has come out behind Grobler as well. Bryce also coming out further down. Tavanari alongside Addison going to get through. Fabian also looking to try and do the same. Same place where Addison turned in on Seclari actually there. So Tavanari through as he comes out as well. So it's 11th place for him, he now gains. And Fabian looking to put pressure onto Luke Addison as well. Not a race to remember for Luke Addison, having a bit of a nightmare, obviously making the big mistake at Cheetah in the first race as well, the first sprint race. And now Fabian all over his back.
Yeah, obviously they slightly changed due to the pit stops, but yeah, Fabian could take down Addison, and there's still a few drivers that are coming in now. Seclari's in the pits now, Baumann is in the pits, so soon we will have a grid where everyone did their mandatory pit stop, and you have to do the moves now on the track. There's no other choice.
Yeah, in terms of Tinko, he's still stayed out as well, so we do have Seclari in the pit, so he's coming with Baumann as well. So Jordan Sherritt now going past the pits will obviously be back up into second position. Will almost certainly, will 100% gain first place once Tinko pits in there, because Sherritt still had himself a pretty sizable lead. But Tinko has consistently been doing 140s. High 140s, but 140s nonetheless, while he's been out there in clear air.
Kevin Seclari and Baumann coming out of the pit side by side. What an exit here. Oh, he ran over the white line. There's also a different car coming from the track over the start-finish straight, but Seclari has to slot in behind. So does Baumann, but it seems like Baumann made the pass.
He's right in the pack of Tavanari, Addison and Fabian that were battling it already. And for Seclari, it's not paid off because he was... Well, actually, he's got ahead of Addison, in fairness, Seclari, because he was behind Addison, if you remember. It's Addison that turned into him, and Fabian. So Seclari actually gaining 2 places from that. But Baumann has gained about 3 or 4 places from that. He has massively benefited from staying out late.
Yeah, Baumann did absolutely everything right then. Is that Luca Tavanari in front? Yes, it is. So, as you said, we basically put together 2 fighting groups and put them into one and squeezed them right in there. And Baumann, I mean, that pit exit, it wasn't him running over the white line, by the way. He's not quite sure if the rules there.
No, it was Seclari,
they have to stay. So that's another thing because
I had
Seclari,
noticed when they were in the pits, Baumann had stopped just in front of Seclari. So it was very much a planned move.
Yeah, absolutely exciting exit there on the pits. Love that one. The Lamborghini The Real Race always delivering. We sat there in between, and it's true. I mean, last time we had the race in Suzuka, it was decided on the very last lap of 3rd to last corner. So let's see here. That's Seclari going to the right now. Baumann stays a bit longer, tries to just let the run the car as straight as possible. So he got off the limiter first. Oh, he also went over the white line because only one car fits in there, and then Seclari had to run over the white line a bit. And in the end, I think Kevin Seclari actually wasn't willing to take the risk, and he let Baumann through.
Well, Tinko is staying out as long as he can. I think he's the only person not to pit now. As Tinko van der Velde, he's still keeping that pressure down. Luke Allison under pressure from Fabian. Obviously, that pack is going to continue backing and forward. But here we go, Tinko in the pits.
It will be interesting now if Tinko van der Velde won anything with running that long. Especially, it will be hard to judge for us because he also gets the 5-second penalty while Addison, nearly as of there, is kind of losing the rear that rotated his front end on the inside to touch the grass. But luckily, he catch the car once again. And Fabian was probably hoping for it already. I think I even heard his engine revving down a bit. I think he lifted slightly to not run into Addison and risk his race as well. But this fight is not over just yet.
Tinko serving that 5 seconds as well, don't forget, as well as the mandatory change still sitting in there now. So we're going to see, obviously, Jordan Sherritt going over and past him. That's a given, as is what was 3rd place Caperi. He will be moving up into 2nd as well. I expect Tarek Adam to also go through. The question is, where does he come out? Is it going to be between him? He's moving now as car 5, 6 and 7 go past and round. I think he's going to come out just in 4th place here. We do see Tarek Adam now coming alongside as he comes out the pits on the white line. Can he get ahead of Tarek Adam as they go into the corner? He's going to be up the inside. Oh, I think they're connected. He connected with Tarek Adam. Disaster. Disaster. Adam turning in there, or whether Tinko was out wide. Either way, it does put Tinko back into 3rd.
Yeah, Tarek Adam, he will not be happy about that. He was about to get the podium spot there. And then, yeah.
I think sweet revenge is served, perhaps. I'm not too sure.
We might need to see that from the copper perspective, maybe, of Tinko van der Velde. That might help to see what really happened here. But it was a very close one. Once again, an exciting exit that we get from the pit. Seems like they really add to this race today in terms of what's happening. But now Adam down to 7th, and Tinko van der Velde, after a 5-second penalty, still on the podium.
Yeah, we'll see whether he gets another 5 second. I don't think I saw anything wrong from him. It looked like Tinko was just at the inside, came out the pits, and they were just side by side as, you know, racing incident as it were. Ironic that obviously Adam was the one that did the same to Tinko earlier. Let's have a look at the replay of it to see if we can make it any clearer. This is from Tinko's car perspective.
Yeah, that's him on the inside braking really late, so he sticks to the inside. Problematic. I mean, I think there was a bit of space on the left, but not so much that I would say Tinko was supposed to be further up the inside, because then he would have needed to be on the curb.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the brakes. He was trying to turn left as much as he could. I mean, Tarek kind of turned across him. He's got to give each other space. You know he's going to be there. Yeah, it's a hard one to call. Definitely see whether it's just going to be a racing incident. Over to the race stewards for that one. Meanwhile, obviously there's this pack that's been happening. In terms of where Tarek Adam falls, it actually dropped him behind this little group of Grubler, Razzieri and Bryce. So Tarek Adam now behind those, slots in just in front of the pack that is fighting tooth and nail, which is Tavanari, Baumann, Ciclari, Addison and Fabian all fighting for those positions.
Yeah, Addison and Fabian lost a bit of time because they're not that close to Kevin Ciclari anymore. Ciclari obviously came out of the pit, slotted right between this group, and now he wants to get onto Baumann because Baumann overtook him basically on pit road or pit exit. So Ciclari will be more than happy to gain that spot back and then place 9th. Also interesting that Grobler, after what happened, is still 4th position. He was in 2nd previously, so I would say he did absolutely everything right so far to make it back.
Back marker in the way though. Giacomelli, and he's flashing them. He's already been blue flagged. I can see 1 or 2 blue flags already for Giacomelli, but the fact is, Grobling, if you're not close enough, you can't go past him. He's not going to completely get out the way. Finally does go as wide as he can and lets the 2 drivers through. I think he's going to close the door on Bryce, so yes, he is. So Bryce not going to benefit from that one, but Grubler will keep his position and Razzieri still behind.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce might even appreciate a bit of a slipstream he got there. Of Giacomelli, but it's so hard now. It's like you're at a back marker, you're getting lapped constantly, and you're losing more and more time, which doesn't help you to get back into the race. So, but I think Giacomelli might be 2 laps down already. I'm not mistaken. He's on lap 22, and yeah, the Jordan Sherry's 23, but he should be listed as 2 laps down because he got overtaken by Jordan Sherry twice. So there's not much with coming back, actually. Luke Addison has still got Fabian right behind, and they are as close as ever. And Fabian so far did not really found a good moment to show himself up the inside or maybe challenge him around the outside. Instead, it's mostly threatening each other, coming a bit closer, sometimes flashing the lights.
Yeah, just to say, come on, let me pass. You should have let me pass. I'm so much quicker. Yeah, it doesn't work out that way in racing, though, unfortunately.
I mean, down to pure colours, I think Fabian should lead as well. I really like.
You like the green. Yeah.
So, can a green car win, maybe? Oh, not with Jordan Sherry always winning. So.
There's also, don't forget, the little battle that's going on between them with Baumann. Ciclari's got to be seething because obviously he was running in 2nd place and he finds himself all the way down here in 10th right now thinking, what am I doing? Why am I in this position to be fighting here? Obviously connected with Grubler early on around about the 2nd lap. And then after the pit stops, coming out with Baumann blocking in front of him. He's absolutely going to be livid with how this race has gone for him.
Definitely, but Baumann might celebrate this because that was an amazing move.
Razzieri on Grubler, absolutely trying to have a look here. Grubler will be up the inside, should be able to hold it at the moment, but Razzieri's going to have that drive. Is he going to be able to get the quicker exit as he gets inside? But no, doesn't happen. And there is Tinko van der Velde getting another 5-second penalty.
Oh, that's so hard, but he also still has a 5-second gap over Grobler, so if he keeps going with that pace, it should be fine. Well, finally, Razzieri goes alongside, and that brings Bryce into the mix. Look at that. That is Bryce, right, coming there as fast at this fighting group, and wow, they're really bunching up now, and Grobler has to do absolutely everything to keep Razzieri in check and not letting him pass.
Bryce can't get through on the S's, but it forces Razzieri wide. Now he's got to go defensive. That buys Grobler all the time he needs, because Razzieri was just out of position. Now going to be hard on the brakes, just up the hill, and then it dips down hard on the brakes. Bryce having a look, see on the hairpin if he can squeeze on round, and he absolutely has. Now flat out on the accelerator, see just simple race one another, and he should have the inside line. Bryce is through. That is a great move from Mignet Bryce.
And it just showcases, like, if you're in a fighting group where everyone is so close in terms of skills, and you need to be aware of, if you launch an attempt to overtake, it should better work, because you're probably losing a position if it does not work, and that's exactly what happened here. Razzieri was looking at Grobler, all good, launched an attack, did not work out, and the time he lost brought Bryce into this fight, and all of a sudden, Bryce gained a position. It's now right onto Grobler as well.
Yeah, now Tavanari as well is also being pressured by Baumann and Ciclari. They're continuing their battle further down the field. That is 8th, 9th and 10th as they look. Meanwhile, Grobler's actually under pressure from Bryce now. Bryce is looking to try and get past Grobler. That would be a mega move in 2 laps if he can make his way up from 6th up into 4th place. And Grobler is very much under pressure here in this big green Lamborghini.
Yeah, but he also knows, like Bryce knows, when he now attacks Grobler,
he's made a mistake! He's gone wide!
Too much over the curb, lost a bit of drive there. That's sending Bryce along the outside. Slight tap. He could have a switchback, but there's also Ruggieri now on the inside, so it gets really tight between these drivers. Can actually everyone make it out alive? They do, luckily. But this group is really heating up, and they're losing a ton of time. Look at that.
This is where Bryce made the move before, and Ruggieri, and he's looking to do the same again up the inside. A little flash of the lights, don't really need them. Just trying to put Grobler off as much as he can, but it doesn't pay off as well for him this time. He's just having a little peek up the inside of Grobler and just making mind of him. And look what's going on in the background. That's that Tavanari battle with Baumann and Ciclari as well. This little group is getting heated.
Yes, and they're losing time. It was 5.8 seconds previously between Van der Velde and Grobler, so Van der Velde barely made it after the penalty, and now it's 10.5 seconds, because they lost so much time fighting that Tinker Van der Velde might be the lucky one here, that even with his 5 seconds applied, he might still be on the podium.
Yeah, he doesn't need to serve it. He doesn't need to stop. It's not a stop-go. He can just keep going and just add it to his time. And as you say, that may well just keep his podium time. He's certainly going to be looking at the time and thinking, I'm just going to do as quick as I can. And he is doing that. A 1:40.1. The fastest car on the track right now is Tinko van der Velde.
And he does everything right to overcome that penalty he just got. And Tommy Ruggieri is still looking on to Bryce and trying to find a way around. And it gives a bit of breathing room to Grobler now, who can spread the gap just ever so slightly with every turn that Bryce has to defend there.
Baumann continued to keep the pressure onto Tavanari as well. That's a battle that keeps on giving, it seems. Oh, Tarek Adam going really wide on the back end there. So he's the one that's been looking to benefit, obviously, from this Grobler-Bryce Ruggieri battle. He's certainly gained a lot closer. Speaking of that battle, Grobler's definitely got himself a big advantage now as he's cleared Bryce a little bit. Bryce having to go defensive onto Ruggieri.
Yeah, it's just too much work, I think, for Bryce to go with the pace of Grobler while still defending against Ruggieri. He can defend. We saw that. Bryce showed us all his skill in the first race and was absolutely impressive. So it won't be easy for Ruggieri at all, but it might make life for Grobler just a little bit better. So it's now 11.1 seconds to Tinko van der Velde. As he said, Tinko, quickest driver on the grid currently. So Grobler really needs to put in a lot of work in the next 13.5 minutes if he wants to get the podium spot off Tinko van der Velde.
I'll tell you what, with 13 minutes to go, Tinko's got his eye on Capera, I think. He's gaining. He's gaining because Tinko is obviously on a mission to try and get as much space as he can between himself and Grobler. And in doing so, he's actually gaining on second place quite quickly here, who is obviously, you know, Capera's just been coasting it round, effectively saying thank you very much for second place. So he's got to be careful if he's not getting caught out there. Obviously, with a 5-second gap, it's a penalty. It's not going to make a difference if he does get past, but they've got to be careful they don't connect with one another if he tries to move.
Kevin Ciclari is still very close to Benjamin Baumann, but so far couldn't find a way around. There's also Tavanari in front, so Kevin's well aware of that there are more points up for grabs.
There's 3 groups right now, which is obviously the Grobler, Bryce, Ruggieri. There's Tavanari, Baumann and Ciclari in 8th, 9th and 10th. And then just behind them is Addison, Fabian and Crossland, which is 11th, 12th and 13th. They are all challenging one another. Once again, Ruggieri having a little peek. Not going to work out for him, though. Crossland continuing also to have a little peek on Fabian. Also a little out of position there. Obviously, Charlie Crossland having that connection on him when he was running in 4th place.
Ruggieri once again very, very close to Bryce here, and It seems like Grobler wasn't able to run away that much so far. 0.7 seconds onto Bryce. So I was expecting a bit more, but Rogeri also did not try a third time yet to find a way around Bryce here to get inside the top 5.
Yeah, just a little bit of space, and I think people are realising it's okay. We're getting close to the final 10 minutes of this sprint. Let's just take stock of where you are, take a breather, get yourself ready for this final 10, because we know, we've covered enough of these sprint races to know the final 10 minutes, it starts to get a little chaotic. People start to fight for those positions tooth and nail, and we may see a few connections.
Andrea Martelli, as we can see now here on the screen, his front is a bit battered. Definitely the... is it then still called hood? If there's no engine underneath?
Bonnet, I guess.
Bonnet.
Yeah, I mean, is it? Like you say, if it's in the back, I guess it's still technically the bonnet, but it definitely looked like it's up. If you were to, say, compare it to Jordan Sherritt's immaculate car right now, there's definitely quite a bit of damage done. And there you can see, just the replay there, it was just the spin out of position.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but his race wasn't that great already. So, at least it doesn't hit him while being on the top 3. And while we're having a look at Jordan Sherritt, who's still leading in front of Capera and Van der Velde. It seems like Rogeri is once again super close, but not close enough just yet to really make a move. But he is in the slipstream and he's lurking.
Talking about lurking, Tinko, half a second faster than Capera in that last lap. Alone. So yeah, absolutely gaining on that second place at the moment while this battle continues to play out. Obviously just continually thinking about that 5-second penalty, putting it, hoofing it down, and while Grobler continues to go defensive on these guys, is benefiting him, and it looks like Tinko has that podium sorted.
Yeah, definitely he puts on an amazing pace right now, and he's really managing that 5-second penalty that he has, ensuring that Grobler is not getting any of that. 12.3 seconds, that's enough. He could get another penalty if he wants to. Hopefully he does not. But yeah, it's looking good for him.
I just wonder if he's going to get close enough to put a challenge on Capera. I mean, it won't matter for position, but it's certainly going to be. You can't tell a racing driver not to try and take over someone. That's for sure, because it doesn't matter. But yeah, Bryce continuing to flash those lights at Grobler. Really wanted to get past, getting a lot closer now as well as they come down the hill. Keeping that pressure on. Lots of light flashing going on. Grobler's just flashing his lights as well to say, I can flash mine too. Not that Bryce can tell.
True that, because it is Grobler being up the front, and now Adam gets involved as well. He's getting a lot closer to Rogeri. And as soon as these bunch up and start fighting again, Adam will probably join. A small mistake by Bryce. Lost them a kind of time there. Just a tiny bit. But it might be enough to get Rogeri in a position to actually attack. Look at that. Once again, slipstream down into turn 1. They all get slipstream, so it's not like it's a massive impact.
Well, Rogeri's sending it. He's having a look. Oh, he's outbraked himself. I think Adam might be able to benefit from that. Absolutely done himself a little bit there. And Tarek Adam, let's not forget, Tarek Adam was running in 4th place until he connected with Tinko, which is why Tinko has that 5-second penalty in the first place. So Adam, definitely a quick driver, stuck behind these guys at the moment. With 8 minutes to go, this might be the time to make a move.
Yeah, they're creating a great fighting group once again. Well, I can see that Crossland is very close as well to Fabienne here. Wait, he took him down already? Was Fabian in front previously? Yeah, there we go. We get it as a replay. That's amazing. So I was just wondering, it's like, wait, I'm pretty sure that Crossland was behind Fabian. And good that we can catch that on the replay because there's so much action going on as Adam goes a bit wide. But here first, the overtake of Crossland onto Fabian out of the last corner. Slipstream for Crossland. It's also a slightly bigger group that we've seen here. So let's see if he did it on turn 1. Yep, up the inside, braking a bit later. And then he probably kept it going. That looked like a very clean one, yep. Well done by Crossland.
Bryce still trying to keep that pressure down on Grobler at the moment, with Ruggieri hot on his heels and Tarek Adam just waiting to see if anyone will make a mistake as they come once again around over the line. And it is a very much a train building on Grobler. Grobler's sort of shook them a couple of times, but every time Bryce seems to regain as they go through the more technical parts of the track. So whether Grobler's got the straight line speed, I don't know, but Bryce definitely seems to make it work. We saw it obviously in the first sprint race as well with Tinko. Tinko struggled to get past Bryce, and we know the man can certainly make the moves.
Look how big Ruggieri's car is in the rearview mirror and rearview screen for Bryce. I mean, he can't miss that one, that's for sure. And Adam, now definitely a part of this pack in the fighting group. By the way, 14 seconds by now between Tinko van der Velde and Grobler, and only 2.2 seconds up to Capera. So Tinko van der Velde definitely found, I don't know, the boost button or installed a second engine, the front cover, I don't know, but he's really quick.
Yeah, 140.3 again on that last lap. 140.1 is his fastest. Still Jordan Sherritt with the quickest, just getting close to that sub 139 mark. 140.0 is what he's done. But and that's Jordan Sherritt, by the way, without any pressure, just pacing himself. So he's well gone. Caprera definitely is feeling the pressure though from Tinko van der Velde, but he's going to see that 5 second. He knows it's there. They both know it's there, so he knows he's not really under a threat.
Oh, that's true, and the question is, should he really attack Capera or just let it slip? But as you said, racing drivers, right, we all have been there, and we all know how hard it is to not make a move when you feel like, hey, it can be quicker. You want to show off, obviously. Let's see, Adam now, that's the car furthest back. Maybe jump on his onboard and see everything else unfolding in front of him. So the car in front is Ruggieri, then it's Bryce, and Grobler is the green car leading this group. There goes Bryce up the inside of Grobler. Nope, that was just a little look, but Adam really late on the brakes here, closing the gap to Ruggieri, but look how close those three are in front of him now.
Yeah, Bryce, that little look on the inside almost opened the door for Ruggieri, didn't it? Just left himself a little too much on the brakes, slower on the exit. Ruggieri pulls in once again, but we'll keep our eye. We've seen this is where Grobler's made the mistake before, around this sort of third, fourth gear corner, whichever you dare, whether you want to just coast it in fourth or keep it flat out in third, generally is where it is, and then just tickle it into fourth as you exit. But at the moment they are keeping tooth and nail with 4 minutes to go on this. That equates to just around about 3 to 4 laps, depending on where Jordan Sherritt is when we close in on the final few moments of this race.
Yeah, this will be a great finish once again, just like Suzuka, I'm absolutely sure. Bryce has to defend against Ruggieri, as Grobler is getting a bit away from these guys, and there's traffic coming up as well. So that might be an interesting change of pace now.
Yeah,
Crossland, by the way, super close to Addison. It's another fight. I don't really want to go away from the top group, but let's have a quick look at what Crossland is doing and cooking up here. It's not launching it there, no, so we can go back to group up ahead and see if they might have a swapping position into turn 1.
Well, Grobler's got himself a little gap. He's managed to find some time in there somewhere to get ahead of Bryce. Just 0.3 seconds a lap quicker there, so he's managed to shake him a little bit, which has obviously now put Bryce under pressure from Ruggieri, so maybe Grobler's just done enough with 3 minutes to go to get himself out of this challenge. Meanwhile, Tinko very much on the back of Caprera as well now, so, you know, give him more time, he may have been able to make the moves work out, but still, with that 5 second, doesn't matter, podium pretty much locked in and decided, but it is this gap from 4th down to 7th that is still on the line with 2.5 minutes to go. Jordan Sherritt is, where's he currently at in terms of track? He's about to go over the line, so we're probably going to have 3 more laps left. 2 after this.
The more laps, the more opportunities for everyone to make a move, and so far, if Grobler doesn't make a mistake, I think Bryce won't have a shot, but Ruggieri is very much in place for doing just that onto Bryce. And but he also knows if he launches it and he makes a mistake, then Adam might slip through.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where Bryce benefited from last time, right? Ruggieri had a move on Grobler. That backfired. Bryce went in. So he's got to be thinking, keep that situation normal. In terms of where the positions are, I would say Jordan Sherritt's almost a half a lap ahead of these guys, which is incredible considering this is 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. There's like, these are no slouches. They're all doing some good laps. And I should point out, Jordan's been under no pressure, so he's kind of just pacing himself. If anything, he's not gone for sub 139s yet. So he's not been looking at the pace that he had in the first sprint race. He put a few 139s in there, so he's just keeping it on the down low at 140.5. So he's pacing himself. But these guys, because they're defending, because they're fighting, they're all doing 141s, and it's hurting their own races.
Yeah, of course, but it doesn't really hurt us, right? It puts a great show on,
yeah, true.
A show on the screen for everyone watching, for all the racing, motorsports, sim racing fans out there, and Lamborghini fans, obviously. This is Lamborghini The Real Race. And we're approaching the last seconds, and Jordan Sherritt, is he still out there and crossing the line? Yes, he will.
Yeah.
As that is start-finish straight. So we get one more lap, which puts a lot of pressure now onto Bryce as he has to defend for one more.
I mean, what fuels they got? That's what that's what I'm interested in. It's always that case when you go that extra lap, you're like, ooh, maybe just underfuel myself a little bit. I want to just keep your eye on if anyone's lifting out there a little more than they need to. Speaking of, Tinko right on the back of Caprera now, so he's caught up on him. So well done, Tinko, for putting Tinko time down effectively. Bryce, though, under pressure from Ruggieri. Ruggieri a little on the brakes. He's trying to go for the undercut, and Adam's looking to try and benefit. Bryce has to go defensive, forces him towards the pit wall here, and that may open the door. You can see Ruggieri going to go out the outside. It's pretty much a straight drag race, and look at Adam. He's licking his lips to see if he can make anything from this as they go side by side into turn 1.
Yeah, what a close fight. You look at that. I mean, he could reach over and just change the rearview mirror angle on Bryce's car. Now up the inside, Ruggieri might make it through. They still go side by side. Abner gets involved. All of a sudden, he finds himself between these two cars. But it seems like Bryce, let's give an award for best defender in the Lamborghini The Real Race round 4. Because he's still in control of the fifth spot, and Adam just goes around the outside of Tommy Ruggieri, and Ruggieri might find himself dropping. Oh, Adam is slide on the back, rotated his car into Ruggieri, so Ruggieri stays there. Adam lost one position to Tavanari, and with that fight is basically done and dusted.
Yeah, that's put them further back there. Bryce has got himself a gap. Ruggieri is finished. While that's what will happen, Jordan Sherritt over the line. Congratulations, Jordan, for a back-to-back win here. And absolutely well done. Home Grand Prix, pretty much a Grand Prix. Home race for him here in the Real Race. Over the line goes Caprera and Tinko van der Velde in the same liveries, looking fantastic side by side. Second and third. That is the podium sorted out. Grobler looks like he's got 4th in the bag. Bryce as well, as you say, best defender, MVP.
Adam might get another shot here
place
to get back his position, but no, it wasn't enough. Not enough traction coming out of that turn, and that means Tariq Adam only 8th after his car slipped away in the fight with Ruggieri.
Yeah, further down the field, Charlie Crossland goes 12th as well. Disappointed for him after he'd made up so much ground. Lots of contact in that race. Just small little nudges here and there. Obviously, people turning in, turning out too much, and a lot for the race stewards to do. Tinko obviously was the man that had a 5-second penalty at the end, but he was very much clear of 4th place, so will retain that impressive top podium position.
Let's have a look at the replay. Well, we see Jordan Sherritt celebrating his win, but we got a replay of what happened between not Bryce, but between Adam and Ruggieri. That is Bryce. Yep, that is Ruggieri on the left. We were jumping in between those two, going over the line, and Rogeri was looking like, do I go up the inside? Do I try around the outside? Went for the outside then, with Bryce covering up inside line, and then with them being so close and trying to not kill each other, basically, Adam was creeping closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden he had more speed, but he couldn't really go for it. You saw it there. He was quicker. He had to brake to not run into these. Then he was right in between them, and then it got really, really tight. Well, luckily, they managed.
And I think it's from Bryce's point of view. He saw Adam and he's suddenly like, no, that's not happening. He cut across. Adam was actually looking at squeezing up the inside of both of them.
Yeah, that was very entertaining end to that fight. Although I would have loved to see Bryce being involved a bit more at the end. But between Adam and Rogeri, I think that was a nice fight. Unlucky that Adam had the wheels on the rear going a bit wild. But we also have to say, it didn't hit Rogeri that bad, so although Adam lost the position, it didn't have a majorly negative impact. So I don't want to see them spinning on the very last lap, but once again, last laps on these races deliver action, action, action.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff overall. Congratulations to Jordan Sherratt. Back-to-back wins once again for him here, and continuing his dominance. And considering his competitor in second place obviously was Ciclari that was putting the pressure on him. For him to finish down in 10th, Jordan Sherratt has got himself a huge points lead now here. The South African performing as he knew he would. We could tell throughout the qualifying in terms of times, as I say, he was the only person in the world to be able to squeeze out that 7th lap in terms of qualifying over the 10-minute time that they were given.
Yeah, Jordan Sherratt in absolute control of the EMEA region. I mean, we said that so many times, and sorry, that's the only thing we can say about him. But so far, he didn't do mistakes. He was always absolutely on point in the hot laps, in the races, in the endurance race. Whatever we throw at him, Jordan Sherratt has already a solution up his sleeve and just doing it.
I would say also big shout out to Tinko to get back into third place. He was running in third place before Tarek Adams spun him. Tarek was given a 5-second penalty for that. Tinko was obviously sent down from third down to 18th. Had to fight his way back up, keep that cool head, as it were. Got himself up into, I think, 11th place at the end of the first sprint race, the first sprint race out there. Obviously had a bit of contact on the first lap, got himself another 5-second penalty. Went in the pits, chose to go, I think he was one of the last to pit, actually. Went as long as he could, blasting out those laps, served his 5-second penalty, did the pit stop, came out, had another contact with Tarek Adam, bit of revenge back and forward. That sent Adam down into 8th place. Has another 5-second penalty and still manages to get that podium. So, 10 seconds in penalties given to him, spun down from third down to 18th, then back up to third again. While, yes, he had contact, yes, he had penalties. What a fantastic drive.
Yeah, mental strength is really a thing for Tinko van der Velde, I think. I mean, he showcased that he's not letting himself being dragged down by what happened. The second penalty did not really have a negative impact on his pace either, so he absolutely deserved that third spot, and that also means that we come into a deserving end because we had so much good racing, and now we need to get new drivers in and more drivers in for the next race, so be aware of our schedule. Obviously, there is another race coming up because that was round 4 there, 10 in total, so Zandvoort should be up next if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
In a few weeks' time. So if you want to get yourself involved, and there's still a chance to qualify for that, just head over to Lamborghini eSports, check out the Lamborghini Squadra Corsa Twitter and Instagram account, be aware of everything that happens in the world of Lamborghini, and then qualify, lay a lap down, and find yourself here on the next stream on the next race. Once again, big thank you to Kuna Simulazioni for Assetto Corsa Competizione. That's the sim racing on to Intel, Kaspersky, and Secret Labs, our partners here for Lamborghini The Real Race. Thanks to you as well, Lee, for joining for this race. And there's nothing more to say besides you will get the best highlights of this race. My name is René Butler, and I'll see you guys next time.